SpiceFM, Nairobi.
A very good morning to you on this what day?
Today.
Okay, I can hear you guys. Sorry, let me just say it now. Thank you. All right. Fantastic. A very good morning to you. It is the 20th of July. July is over.
Yes.
There's just 11 days left in the month.
Yes.
And if you count today, then there's 10 days.
Yes.
Oh, wow. How are you?
Go freshy.
Uko salama?
It's Monday.
You know what they say?
Yeah.
Real men wear pink.
Yep. It's true.
It's true?
It's true.
Okay. And that's what you're doing this morning.
You realize that I think 90% of my shots that I go with on television, whenever I'm doing news, are pink. I just realized that yesterday.
Yeah,
I think it's an easy color for me to just pick.
You anchored the news over the weekend, and indeed you were wearing a pale pink shirt.
Yep.
Yes, you were. Oh, okay. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
But the devil is in the details, as they say. Or in this case, the angel is in the details.
How are you?
I'm okay.
How's your weekend?
It was okay.
Okay.
I saw my daughter. It was fantastic.
Oh, how's she?
She's fine.
That's great.
And I'm just going to brag because why not?
Yeah.
Because of her contribution, for the first time in 16 years, her high school is actually going to the nationals of for basketball.
Repeat that again.
Because of her contribution, for the first time in 16 years, her high school goes to the high school national championships that they'll be playing over the next couple of.
So I gotta ask the next question. How tall is she?
My daughter is 6 feet tall.
6 feet tall. So that means she's my height.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And you see now that goes down the history of the school. Like in 2026, because of her contribution, they went to the nationals.
Yeah.
Like that forever remains etched in the history of the school.
That was amazing. And I met I met her coaches and some of like the team patrons. That's what they're called. Yes. And it was just lovely to see. I mean, it was an event where other things were going on.
You're a happy mama this morning, eh? That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yes, really. It was really, really nice to see. And then, I did my puzzles low key, like when, nobody really knows what's going on with me. I think I'm a puzzle addict. So I'm actually working right now on a digital 1,000-piece puzzle. So I did that. And then you asked what I did this weekend, so I'm telling you the details. And then this is after I left EVE on Friday. We shall discuss.
After you guys left me on Friday. Anyway, yes, please continue.
Where were you? Told us you were coming back, and then
I came back.
He was inside in a booth somewhere.
I came back.
You were in a booth. You were in a booth somewhere. And then I watched Spain win the World Cup.
Yeah, that was painful. I was supporting Argentina.
It was painful.
It was painful. Let me tell you. By the time I was at the 20th minute, I was like, I'm going to sleep. Because I watched more of war from my team than football.
Yeah, you guys were
I was like,
to be a
what
bit
exactly are you guys doing? Is it wrestling?
Yeah.
So at some point I was just like, no. I might as well just wake up to the result. And indeed, I woke up to the result at exactly 3 a.m., 1-0 with a red card.
Yeah, with the red card for you guys, because you guys were playing, I don't know, if it's WWE.
No. Those guys forgot to play football. That's not, if you compare the football they played at the semis, I'm like, what happened to that amazing football you guys played?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Speaking of games gone by, the England-France match, and I thought to myself, where Saka was able to score a hat-trick, and then I wondered, why was this team formation not played?
Exactly. As they're playing Argentina.
Absolutely. Why was this particular formation not played?
True.
Because then you have to ask what exactly was going on. Because
that was beautiful from England.
The boys showed up.
They showed up
third place, fourth place. They absolutely did.
Yeah.
And of course, with that brings this one that had the world watching North America, Mexico, and Canada for the last 2 to 3 weeks brings to an end with Spain lifting the World Cup trophy. Yeah. And then, we'll see you in another 4 years, says FIFA for the World Cup. But it's interesting because other sporting events are for sure taking place.
Yeah.
But it was a thrilling we saw a lot of things. I mean, just like Robbie was here with us on Friday, looking at then what this portends for sports moving forward. And it's amongst some of those things that we discussed. So it was a good weekend, and that's how I kind of ended it. And it all came to a head with the young boys of Spain doing a fantastic job.
They did.
Vamos.
Very nice.
They did a good job. They did. All right. And so that brings us to Monday, and here we are. And everything is looking in fine form from where I'm seated. And I have decided and I have declared that it's going to be a good day. And it's going to be a good next couple of minutes, and then we'll just take it from there.
Yes.
And that we're grateful for an opportunity to open our eyes and be alive. Not everybody had that opportunity this morning. So there's one thing that we can actually be grateful for, and we're absolutely going to do that. Evie is here because she's jumping, because she's going somewhere tomorrow. But we shall revisit later. Okay. Marion is here. Marion, good morning. Just silently there in the corner, waving like Princess Catherine. But we can make it Princess Marion.
Yeah, Princess Marion.
Silently.
Yeah.
There was a beehive flurry of activity, and that was Joyline, who was so gracious enough to help me remember my coffee cup, my drugs, which I needed this morning. So everybody's in fine form except Voke. Yeah, tutasahau. Derek, good morning. Derek is here. How are you? Can you rub off on Voke? That's how I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Rub off on Voke.
What the hell is Wamsi doing here at this time in the morning?
The Pink Perspective was on
Wamsi.
Saturday. I heard you on the radio on Saturday. Good morning.
Madam Monitor Prefect.
She's good. Wamsi hosts the Pink Perspective with Becky on Saturday.
Yeah.
But she's decided that she'll be here with us this morning.
Yeah, great.
All right. So everybody, karibu sana. Thank you for being here this morning. Karibu, karibu, karibu. As we get into it, let me tell you what some of our conversations will be today. It's coming off the weekend where still many conversations are being had about Okoh and what's going on, and what's going on from there in terms of what then does it portend. So our first conversation today at 7 o'clock, we will have just around that. We're looking into the state of the nation, but beyond Okoh. Bosco Curia is a policy and governance analyst. He'll be joined by Dr. Hesbon Dawila, who is a communication and political analyst. The state of the nation. Now from that, what does it all look like? And that's the conversation then we lead with at 7 a.m. today. And then at 8 o'clock, Wajiko Mohia is the Member of Parliament for Kipipiri constituency, which is just around Okoh, there where things were going on in Murang'a County. Now, Kenya politics and how DCP secured its latest win is what we'll be looking at today, because it's not just about Kenya conversation or a DCP conversation, but now everybody's doing some mathematics over the weekend, and I was like, 5 plus 5 is no longer 10, my friends. And people are now talking about, if this is then this.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about, from that perspective, what it actually looks like. Now, did you know that there are concerns? Well, did you know that people are being treated for Ebola in Kenya at the moment, or at least are being watched?
Yeah.
Dear Mr. President, can you tell us exactly what's going on with this Ebola thing? That's the conversation that we're going to have at 9 o'clock, combined with a number of other things. 7? Yes, that was the number. But we're looking a little bit deeper into that conversation, and perhaps you can tell us that. We're going to combine that conversation with what's on the front page of the Standard today, and we'll let you know what that is. Are things really falling apart? Dear Mr. President, are Kenyans tired? Are they tired? You'll tell us what's going on with Ebola and this. Dear Mr. President, we'll talk to you at 9 o'clock today. So that's what our conversations look like today. Karibu, karibu. Dennis told Aseto, Nduh with you this morning in the Situation Room. That's where we are today, and very glad that you joined us this Monday morning, getting into the thick of things on the 20th of July. We'll talk about these things, guys. At the very least, we will bring them up so that we are aware that they're going on and how that affects our life from one to the other. So thank you for being here with us this morning. Our live streams are up. Sindo?
Yes, it is.
On YouTube, Facebook, and on X, Karibuni Sana. And we'll say a quick hello to you as we do in a short while. And a very good morning to our audience on KTN who joins us today, allowing us to then have a conversation on different platforms. It's a simulcast of the Situation Room, and we're glad that you're here with us today. We will conflict the afflicted. Rather, we'll conflict. We afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. So thank you for then being part of those with us today. I'm very excited about where you're taking us this week.
We are in the world's 4th largest island. 90% of its animals are only found on that island, making it one of the most amazing biodiversity hotspot across the world.
I like to move it.
I like to move it. I like to move it. That is King Julian.
Sindio?
King Julian.
It's Madagascar.
Yes, Madagascar is where we're at today. And when you think about the ring-tailed lemur, only in Madagascar will you ever find it. Makes the reason why, or the understanding why, that movie was such a hit, because it described Madagascar for what it actually is.
Yeah.
You know?
The creative director must have had fun with that movie.
Lazima. Yeah. Then guess what again? Vanilla is the largest producer and exporter of what?
Madagascar is the largest producer and exporter of vanilla.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, your geography is on point. But the proverb that you get this morning, do not laugh at the fallen. You may find slippery roads ahead.
You never want to glory in somebody's misfortune.
True.
You never want to glory in when somebody may be a foot down today, because a foot down today means a leg up tomorrow.
Yep.
And nothing ever lasts forever. It could be me today, it could be you tomorrow. So if you're laughing at my misfortune, remember, my friend, he who laughs last laughs best.
Yes. I mean, I look at where we find ourselves as a continent, especially with a country that was built on the backbone of other countries, South Africa. You know, for a very long time, South Africa has been seen as the rainbow nation that accommodated everybody. Ubuntu was the word or the phrase that brought everybody together. Today, they've kicked out Africans,
Everybody.
you know, and everyone is looking at them and saying, okay, sawa, today you've won, but let's look at what the future then portends for you. Because if you look at some of the responses, especially from Nigeria, look at Ghana and how they are hitting back at the economy of South Africa. One asked the question, when everybody else was falling because there were immigrants in your country and you kicked them out, what is happening to you now that economy is shaky?
Absolutely.
You know, so don't laugh that you won today. Don't laugh that someone is down, because perhaps they have something up their sleeve. You never know.
Or somewhere.
Somewhere.
That's for sure. A good one, I think, for all of us to remember today. So let's say hello to you, because we know that you're streaming into the room this morning. And thank you always for then taking a moment to join us. And so let's say a very good morning to you across our platforms of, Facebook, on YouTube, and on X this morning. Karibuni sana. Do I want to say yes?
Yes.
I want to see if we can find our folks who are on Facebook, because we rarely are able to say hello to you for some reason. But can we find you? Can't even find you. Yes, we can. All right, tell us where you're tuned in this morning, and then we'll be able to say a quick hello to you. But when I can find you guys on Facebook, I will find you later. A very good morning to you. I know you're tuned in. These ads sometimes drive me nuts, but it's a good thing. All right. Good morning, Team Spice. Blessed week ahead for all Kenyans. May we have soberness in politics this week. This is Cliff Sunday's prayer. A very good morning to you, and Karibu Sana. Thank you for being in the room with us. Robert Tobogo is tuning from Mombasa. Karibu. And James says, hello. Sincere love and commitment to a people doesn't need to be announced or explained, because the subjects, even animals, can feel and see and tell it. Yeah, you can tell if somebody's being genuine. That's for sure. Rose Grace says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. Mukwaje?
Tukofiti.
Salama. Blessed week ahead. And to you too, my sister. G. Kenyan is tuned in this morning and says, good morning from Nairobi. Nyakundi Emmanuel said, I slept a happy man, Spain losing. Spain didn't lose. And people singing one time at KICC. Nduh and Aseto, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Nyakundi, Spain did not lose. Yeah. I don't know which World Cup you're watching. Argentina lost. Yeah, Spain actually won the World Cup. Don Sabwa says, good morning, Nduh. Ask Aseto. Here we go. He's back to asking you questions. Now that he's back in fine form, who are these well-coordinated, covered, protected, hidden, beating, vandalizing, brandishing weapons during all Kalau by-elections?
Well, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen yesterday said it was in Trans Nzoia, he said that investigations have been launched by the DCI to find out who those men were, who are wielding guns and what do we call tear gas canisters, who had all those things. So they're investigating who those people are.
They're still investigating.
It's
good. No Allah.
Yeah. So Don Sabo, after investigations, will tell you. But when you match Hambiwi, Tazama.
He goes on to conclude that we're saying Spain. Yes, indeed. The boys did a good job, absolutely. And there's definitely a team to watch, even as they go to their respective clubs in the incoming season. Those are some fine form football playing young men. Wanda says, good morning, Aseto and Nduh from Toronto. I love the pink, Aseto. Viva España. Viva football. Viva integrity. Viva Shakira and Burna Boy. How about that performance? My God.
I know. I gotta love it.
The most deserving team won the World Cup, and we are elated. We are quite elated.
True.
Bernardo Gamba says, good morning, Spicy from Nairobi. Just wondering how Argentina reached the finals. Well, I mean, they played good ball getting to the final. They were played like toddlers. The only one on target shot, Viva, I think is what you're looking for. You have taken soccer to new heights. Cliff Sunday says, hi, Team Spice. Something is wrong with the YouTube live stream. We're here, bro. I think that was before. Also, are you aware you have Americans from DRC quarantining in Kenya? We're going to have that conversation at 9 o'clock. If you can, stay up. I hope no one tests positive for Ebola, because that would not be good.
True.
That would not be good at all. Bwangi Juma says, good morning, SpiceFM. Let's embrace one time even in football. Congratulations, Spain.
It's a reality, eh?
Okay, sour. If you say so.
Yeah, let's embrace it.
Sylvia Legwa says, good morning, my lovely duo. Nduh and Dennis, great day ahead, and to you too. Karibu. Jennifer Etenye says, good morning, Nduh, Aseto, and Spice family. Our World Cup was on Saturday. The rest was FIFA's. Have a lovely day and week, my loves. Okay, you guys for England and France?
Yeah.
England did the business.
England did the thing.
Why lie? Erica War says, whoever forgot to give the goat some grass should be fired. Good morning, guys. Yeah, and I could see that he felt it. He really did. Those tears that he cried at the end.
But I think as well, if you look at how Argentina are playing, like what Robinson was saying, you get the ball, give it to Messi, and Spain knew that.
So they held him
bumper
out
to bumper
with him. They knew it.
I remember the 20th minute, the man had only touched the ball once.
Well,
so the grass wasn't fed.
The Spaniards came ready.
They showed up. They showed up,
and they were ready.
They showed up.
They were absolutely ready, and it shows. Mashara Njeri says, good morning, Spice. Oh, by the way, Kylian Mbappe did essentially get the boot. So congratulations to him. He also played quite well, and I think there was some unselfish play in England where Jude Bellingham would have scored that, but gave it to Saka so that he could get the hat trick. I thought that was some great sportsmanship that we saw England over the weekend. Happy. Christina says, good morning. Oh, sorry. Mashara Njeri says, good morning, Spice, Nduh, and Dennis. Watching from Portland, Oregon. MPs cancelled the trip to Nanyuki Air Base to check the quarantine center. Yeah. They're a bit busy.
They're busy. Too cold cloud.
That there's a quarantine center is what is actually getting my goat. I don't understand. It was not supposed to be, Ama.
It wasn't supposed to be there. The court said no. We shouldn't be having that facility
in the first place.
Yeah. That means everything else, whether there's a quarantine facility in Nanyuki, that's illegal.
Why?
We did not know. We did not know. A foreign government would set up a quarantine facility and you would not know.
Where? Christina says, good morning. Nduh, yes. I forgot to ask you to pray for some of us who are petty, who vote with emotions. Tusijipate tume, Rudisha Nabi. I've realized it's not civic education that we need, but emotional control. Father God, in the name that is above all names, that you bring down heaven to help people like Christina to not vote with their emotions, but to vote with logic.
Yes.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Ama? Amen. Yes. Okay.
Because,
hey, at the side, Christina. Robert Nyange says, good morning, tune from Bidikani in Voi. Talk about Voi and Taita Taveta on Saturday. Sorry. Too soon? That's another thing that I was
20,000 like that. But I loved the civic education that came with what Sifuna was doing.
Where?
You gotta know where you're voting.
I'm telling you.
Are you registered?
In the first place.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, takunyunyizia maji.
Kiarie Peter is tuned in this morning. We see you, Kiarie. Very good morning to you. Karibu sana. Thank you for joining us in the room today. And you say, you don't need religion to have morals. If you can't determine right from wrong, you lack empathy, not religion.
True.
The 2000 says, good morning, people. Daniel Churu is also here and says, a blessed...
Morning, blessed crew.
Oh, morning, blessed crew. Karma works in mysterious ways. When Argentina joined the USA and Israel in voting against the UN declaration that slavery of Africans was one of the worst injustices ever committed. Yeah, there's a lot of politics behind this World Cup as well. So people were happy for other reasons. That's for sure. Good morning, team. They have 12. Okay, let's start again. Paul Alaka says, good morning, tuned in, ready for the week. Kenya is ready for change. Let's go. Eric Yoga, I'm not quite sure what you're saying here. Good morning, people. They have 12 pay slips to brag around. Who? Let me run to the lake for fresh omena. Aseto, your pack is coming soon.
Thank you, Eric Yoga.
We'll talk about that later. Leshan Sanchez says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. Christine Wasonga says, good morning, SpiceFM. Today is my daughter's birthday, Howie, and she would love it if you guys wished her happy birthday. Viva Spain. Well, Howie, happy birthday to you. And how old are you? How old are you now? How old are you now? Happy birthday, dear Howie. Happy birthday to you.
Howie means luck.
Howie means luck? Well, happy birthday to you, Howie. Wakama says, good morning, watching from Dublin as usual. Very excited about the revolution that Ol Kalou has started. It's a thing, isn't it? Senators in Trans Nzoia were chased away. Others were told, usitulete hapa chai. Vitu kama hizo. Osana Emily says, good morning, tuned in. It's Monday, and I hope Team UDA can just accept the loss and stop the noise. Let's see. Esther Wamboy says, good morning, guys. Have a lovely day. Listening from Komarok. Stanley Gashe is tuned in this morning from Mount Kilimanjaro. Attention now shifts to the Commonwealth Games planned. Yes, I know, from 23rd July to the 5th of August, hosted in Glasgow. Why is there still a Commonwealth? But anyway, let's move.
Yeah.
Mukaya says, good morning, the Situation Room. After the World Cup this weekend, WAFCON is beginning from Morocco, and our Harambee Starlets and Tanzania Twiga Stars are in. Hope for the best, because it's going to be a cracker of a tournament. So that's going on in Morocco.
Did you just realize that Kenya's at the World Cup?
Imagine. Yes, it's a good thing. And I think it needs to be celebrated more.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually do. Alex Gyoko says, good morning, Team Spice. Say hi to my son, Jimmy Gyoko. Akielekea Shule, Winstar Academy. Have a good day, Nduh and Aseto. Well, have a good day to you, Jimmy. Tuko tuned in, Team Spice. This is Edwin. I supported Spain all the way from groups mpaka finali. Villaggio, Auto Spa and Grill Icolocked. Aseto, come to Villaggio. Tafuta Edwin. I'll clean you thoroughly. Hey. I think you meant I'll clean your car.
Okay.
It's necessary for some other nouns to be inside there, lest we start thinking other things. Right? All right. Come. Dr. Venvik says, good morning, tuning from Mombasa. Hawapati ambia technician afanye kitu gani bwana. Thomas Osoro says, good morning, Team Spice. It's good to see you again. Happy and blessed Monday. And Grastkodor says, good morning. Was at the scene of KICC yesterday in the World Cup final, true or AI? Njeri wa Kenya. It was true.
It was true.
Argentina lost.
Yeah.
It's not AI. Beja says, good morning, tuned in, Ambassador from Paddington, London. And Midigo Collins says, good morning, Team Spice. Everybody, karibuni sana. Thank you for joining us in the room this morning. Lovely to have you here. Let's get into some of these conversations. Open, honest, necessary ones. And that's what we're doing this morning. Karibu. We'll take a look at what's going on with the weather and the traffic, and we'll come and look into the headlines. Good morning. Stay with us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
There's a bit of a chill on the morning. Looking into Nairobi, we're likely to see later a high of 26 and lows of 14. Looking into Nakuru, we'll see a high of 26 and a low of 17. It's currently cloudy in Nakuru this morning. Njeri this morning at 13 is mostly cloudy with a high of 24, and at 20 it is clear looking into Kisumu. It's 16 and clear with a high of 28 in Kakamega, while at 23 it's mostly cloudy in Mombasa, and 24 partly cloudy into Malindi with a high of 30. It's 19 and partly sunny into Marsabit with a high of 26, while at 18 it's partly cloudy in Kampala. 20 and partly sunny looking into Dar es Salaam, while at 8 degrees it's clear in Johannesburg with a high of 22, 26 and cloudy into Lagos, while at 13 it's cloudy in London, 29 and cloudy into Beijing, while at 22 in New York on Sunday night. We'll see into Monday a high of 27 and a low of 18.
Chilled Spice.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, taking a look at what's happening with traffic this morning. Starting to look a little bit busy as you come off of the Thika Superhighway this morning. And there's traffic that has already started to form there as you then come into the CBD. You're going to get kind of stuck as you come through towards the Pangani Underpass. And if you take a quick look at then what's happening as you come off of Mombasa Road, there is some traffic right around Cabanas that... then it's going to slow things down a little bit. All right, so what else do we see? As you then get into the city from Haile Selassie, there's some traffic here as well. Ngong Road is not looking too bad. Bits and bobs of traffic here and there. And as you get to that junction, coming into that new overpass, some traffic here. Kingara Road is also busy. And also, as you come off of North Airport Road, there's some busyness there. In and outbound traffic, then heading towards Embakasi and outbound as well. All right, one to watch as we get into traffic hour. Let's keep it moving and let's talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Hii Julai, toa baridi na bei chini, burudani juu kwenye Star Times. Usikose Sura ya Pili, simulizi ya ziada. Mwanamke aliyetelekezwa na mumewe Sam na kujikuta akikabiliwa na maamuzi magumu. Je, atabaki na kupigania ndoa yake au ataondoka na kuanza ukurasa mpya wa maisha? Jiunge na waigizaji Anita Wawuda, Gibson Hausa, Michael Saruni, Ivy Wanjiku na Jovial kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa saa 2 kamili kwenye Rainbow TV. Pata aerial decoder kwa shilingi 1399 tu na dish decoder kwa shilingi 2499 pekee. Jiunge leo katika maduka yetu kote nchini Kenya. Bonyeza *858# kurenew subscription yako na kuenjoy offer ya kupata upgrade to the next high bouquet valid till 31st July. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Hi there, it's Yolanda Mulwa. Your mid-mornings just got a lot sweeter. We're celebrating a massive milestone because our friends over at the Karen Hub are turning 10. And they're not just celebrating for a day, they've lined up something incredible every single day from July the 12th to August the 2nd. I'm talking Wellness Wednesdays, Fashion Fridays, exclusive anniversary store offers, and a massive weekend experience you cannot afford to miss. Want to know how you can be a part of the celebration? Then tune in to Sugar and Spice every weekday from 11 a.m. and get all the details.
Every day behind the scenes, Kenya Pipeline Company PLC keeps Kenya moving. Now operating as a public listed company, KPC PLC is built to support national development and energy security. From the Port of Mombasa to East Africa, KPC PLC powers transport, storage and distribution of all petroleum products. And through KPC Foundation, it continues to uplift communities across Kenya. KPC PLC, now a public listed company, fueling progress for Kenya.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, good morning. And we're looking into the headlines at this point and see what's making the news. So remember I told you that at 9 o'clock we'll have a conversation with you. We're going to be talking about the Ebola facility. And then it bleeds into this conversation where we're saying, do things actually, are people actually tired? Lazin, si bana. Punda imecho?
Choka.
Things fall apart. It's not me. It's what's on the front page of The Standard this morning. Kenya's Bold newspaper says that no longer at ease. How many titles are we going to reference from Chinua Achebe? Kenyans are tired of being remembered only when elections loom, tired of watching hundreds of millions poured into one constituency while others are neglected, tired of leaders who treat public resources as campaign tools. All Kalau may have marked a turning point. In Trans Nzoia, Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya and Senator Alan Chesang were booed booed and chased away as residents rejected token handouts and demanded fairness. The message was unmistakable. Keep the goodies. We want dignity, equity, and leaders who serve us every day. Yeah, does somebody need a hearing aid if they didn't hear that?
Please bold in that last statement. Pull it bold.
Yeah. This is what people are actually saying that they need.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that with you all at 9 o'clock, because is that actually what you're saying?
Yeah.
We're going to hear from you this morning. Looking into other stories, Eastleigh's success story faces the twin threat of drugs and insecurity.
When I just say Islay, why?
I knew it was getting you. I was just looking at your eyebrow furrowing. I was like, Eastleigh, and he's like, what? Where? Who? Eastleigh.
Let me tell you, you go Islay, you've confused people in Nairobi.
It's like Carrier Corps is Carrier Corps.
Yeah.
Like the Peace Corps, the Carrier Corps. Anyway.
Yeah.
Eastleigh's success story faces the twin threat of drugs and insecurity. We're going to look into that in just a bit. Doctors restore man's life after a rare 30 kg growth.
Yo.
You know what? I want to just look into this where it was. So it's a big story. We'll talk into it in just a minute.
Yeah.
This gentleman had lived with this 30 kg growth. Do you know how many kgs 30 is?
Just say it's...
Walking around with it as an appendage.
Yeah.
And it's not... but I'll tell you, for 10 years, Samuel Wako Akui endured a condition that left him depressed and made his manhood a subject of public disclosure. He lived with a nagging growth on his scrotum that caused the private part to swell, reaching 30 kilograms of weight. The father of 3 had literally been carrying around a scrotum the size of a he-goat or 2 building blocks that extended from his genitalia down to below his knees. I can see you wincing. In early 2017, he woke up to an itchy scrotum one morning at his Kuvasali home in Malava, Kakamega County, and assumed the discomfort he suspected to be a mosquito bite in the night would go away. It didn't. Since then, his scrotum has been swelling every day, and by 2018, it had swallowed his entire genitalia. I'm going to stop there. Health-seeking behavior is important.
True.
Well, successfully, doctors have been able to remove that, and they've been able to restore his life. And he's now recovering from that. But can you imagine that he stayed with this for 10 years?
Let me tell you. You know, how many kgs is that again?
30.
30 kgs. When you go
That's
to...
an 8-year-old boy or girl.
30 kgs is like what you're being sold as that jerrycan for water. That's just 20.
Yes.
Plus half that. That's what you're carrying every day.
Yes.
And that man was in pain.
Yes.
But you see, if 2016, if again, what you're talking about, health-seeking behavior, if he had just gone to the doctor after realizing this thing
is not a mosquito
two
bite.
weeks later, it's not going away. You go, take a biopsy, let it get checked, let it get removed at that point. Hey, 30 kgs.
What? The good thing is that, I keep telling you, that Kenya medical practitioners actually are very, very good. You have a wealth of medical professionals who are doing their job and are standing on business. This gentleman will live to fight another day because of and he's been all over, going to places back and forth.
Which hospital is this?
So I'm going to go through that just a little bit. And that's what I was actually looking into. The Rafa Hospital in Eldoret. Saturday morning, he's recovered from surgery. And then they were able to do that. But, guess what? He also didn't need to travel halfway across the country.
Nope.
To get that
he
done.
have to leave the country.
No. Imagine.
I just want to find out the next information. Was it covered by...
Shh.
Yes. Shh. Silence.
Yeah, silence of the lambs. Kenya records a jump in HPV vaccinations as immunization surges. Kenya has recorded an increase in human papillomavirus vaccination among adolescent girls, making one of the country's marking one of the country's strongest gains in routine immunization as global health agencies warn that millions of children worldwide are still missing the saving vaccines. Anti-vaxxers are going to have a field day with this, but okay. Defiant voters turn on their leaders, reject handout culture. Transoia was not pretty over the weekend. Senator Alan Chesang and CS Wycliffe Oparanya were basically told, come and be going, I beg. After all, Kalau lost Ruto-Way's cabinet shake-up, new alliances. Okay, it's going to be interesting. Nyong'o on how cancer changed his life and birthed a national mission. Of course, we know that foundation is one that we are looking into in terms of helping to save people's lives. And that, he did that as a result of something that he went through. The world's rarest zebra is in Kenya. And how northern Kenya is fighting to save the world's rarest zebra, the last stripes. A very interesting story. It's a special report. And in the opinion pages today, Josephat Lister Nyaringo talks about how the World Bank must demand accountability from borrowers. Okay, well, that could be a whole conversation.
True.
But one thing that you need to do today also is look into the health and science papers of the Standard, tackling mental well-being of deaf players. It's so interesting, I think, and I think it takes a skill. Have you seen deaf athletes or athletes, sportsmen and women play? It is the most interesting thing.
True. Because
they then use the vibrations in the ground to communicate. And it's great to watch.
Interesting, yeah.
Very, very interesting to watch. And so that means to tell you that a disability is not an inability. So that's interesting, coming out of the health and science pages today. And of course, us all eyes on Morocco as the Kenyan Starlets play in that tournament that kicks off on the 23rd of July. All right, so it looks like in the Standard this morning. Get yourself a copy of the Standard newspaper or Standard e-paper, www.standardmedia.co.ke.
The Nation. Empty talk. And that's the image of one CS Onesphorus Kipchumba Murkomen. Now, at least dozen incidents of armed goons disrupting political events, mainly those involving opposition leaders and government critics, have been reported. In some cases, police have appeared to look on as thugs rampaged, leaving the trail of death, injuries and destruction. Yet after each attack, the authorities promised swift investigations to arrest the perpetrators and masterminds, pledges that are rarely fulfilled before the next episode of violence. The latest was last week's brazen attack by hooded armed men during the All Kalau by-election. Now, there's an investigation that was done and some of the vehicles that these hooded men were using have been linked to a member of parliament. So we know exactly whose car it belonged to. So we need to ask, who was your driver and who did you hire or give your vehicle to? Nasaidia to investigations. Nasaidia investigations.
Okay.
So on...
Say it one more time for good measure.
Yes, Nasaidia investigations.
Right.
Because all those vehicles had number plates, right? Some had plates.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is just, even me, I can do that here. Put it into the NTSA account. You know the owner. You ask the owner, who did you give your vehicle to? That person will tell you who he was with in that what? In that vehicle. Yeah, so on July 19th, Murkomen DCI has opened an investigative file. IG Kanja on July 19th as well said security is a shared responsibility. The police cannot do it alone. We must work closely with communities to ensure the security remains, the country remains safe and secure. Now, on July 17th, CS Murkomen says these allegations of some other persons causing havoc in All Kalau must be investigated thoroughly. So that was the first time he was giving that assurance that investigations would be done. Now, when anyone of us police decides to join gangs and goons, you will be dealt with as an individual. That is according to IG Kanja. So talking about personal responsibility on officers who join, who become goons. That is an IG of police who's saying his boys, people he manages. Yeah, the allegations, the reports.
Really?
That they're joining goons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do not see these things, Bona. We do not see them hand in hand with individuals carrying batons. Sisi wengine ni vipofu sana. Anyway, Supreme Court's Bill 2027. No, it's because people wanapenda kutubeba. Let me use your phrase. Wanapenda kutubeba omena. You get what I mean? Yeah. So in this instance, I'm helping them with investigations.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Sawa, Inspector Aseto.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, Supreme Court's big 2027 decision. Now, top judges have asked the Attorney General to submit an advisory opinion on whether impeached leaders may contest elections while petitions challenging their removal remain unresolved ahead of a ruling that will determine the fate of Rigathi Gachagua, Mike Sonko, and Kawira Mwangaza. Now, teachers get new pay deal. Thousands of teachers across the country will earn higher salaries from this month's payroll after the Teacher Service Commission implemented the second phase of the 2025-2029 collective bargaining agreement with monthly pay increases of up to 2,000 shillings and 55. So a good thing for teachers across the country. So these stories have been highlighted on pages 2 and 3. You get to page 4 is all talk and no action as political violence persists, has been expounded on page 4 there. As we move forward, if I could only turn this page, go to page 6, that is push to halt Ruto Sakaja 80 billion shilling city deal. Now, Senate committee says the manner in which the agreement is drawn implies transfer of county functions disguised as corporation. So now the Senate is having a problem with the 80 billion shillings deal, and they're saying, hold up. What exactly happened here? Did you transfer your powers? Which procedure, which process did you take? So that 80 billion shillings is hanging somewhere. How much have we spent so far?
For the Nairobi. Sijui?
Atujambiwa.
No.
Yes. Yet now we're being told.
You know, I'd even forgotten that there's something like that.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, there is.
Wow.
Have you been next to Parliament?
But see, I told me in a town, it's like
I should take you one day for just a drive. There's some works happening. Now tutapanda nyasi vizuri sana. Now, major disruptions expected as lawyers plan to boycott judges. So, Law Society of Kenya President Charles Kanjama there, and says that the society had resolved to boycott some judges. So we shall not appear before this judge because of reasons best known to them. Now, AG given 21 days to advise if impeached leaders can vie. So that has been expounded there. And Kindiki rejects CS Ruku's push to split Mount Kenya. So Mount Kenya is Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West. Yes, so now they want to be split into two.
Usikia mtu jana alisema mnafaa kujua hata Isiolo ni Mount Kenya North.
Yes, Mount Kenya North. You know, so now they want it to be split, and Deputy President is like, no, let's stay a united faction. But who told them that Mount Kenya is split? Who told them that Mount Kenya is split?
My dear, you know, coming to terms with something that essentially embarrasses you is not the easiest thing to do in this world. So rather than accept it, you're going to then find an excuse to explain it or something to explain around it. Or, you know, suddenly, before you didn't know that there was lower and upper Mount Kenya. Now suddenly there's upper and lower eastern and western Mount Kenya. Stop with your mena this morning. Because
most of the time, when it is a voting block, Mount Kenya goes all the way to Nakuru. So is Nakuru part of Mount Kenya East or West? Unajua, mi sielewi, but anyway. So Raila Jr. sets sights on Embakasi South seat in 2027. So as the family of the late...
Embakasi?
Embakasi South. Embakasi South in 2027. Okay. So Raila Jr. wants to become Member of Parliament for Embakasi South.
All right.
Unajua, hivyo ndio venye maneno iko. On pages 10 is all about the opinions that we see there. Now, gun puzzle and Paul Keo's threat to safety democracy. That is by one Khartoum D. Guyo. Let's look at the shita. Okay.
Calvin Mirindo, very good morning to you. Karibu. All right, so we're going to check on that. 87.9 in Mombasa seems to be off air for some reason. Okay. And if you can't hear very well, so somebody definitely will be looking into that in just a minute. And you want to know the weather in Eldoret? We shall let you know what the weather in Eldoret looks like. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Star. Why you spend more but get less in your shopping goods bag? Walai. Ooh, we're all asking that question. Kenyans are top. Bread, cooking fat, tissue paper, and gas are affected by quantity reduction. Yes, so that's one to look at.
Could it be because of high taxes?
Something somewhere.
Okay.
Or something.
Kuna pesa mfukoni.
P.S. Karogo, we must deliberately deepen regional integration. Yes, Dr. Karogo, we must.
We must.
Nairobi Senator Sifuna heads to Western in career-defining moment. On the 25th of July, which is... Friday, there's going to be an unveiling or something.
Is it Friday or Saturday?
Is it 26th?
Saturday.
It's 26th, Abi? Yeah. Okay, very good. 26th
No, 25th is Saturday.
No? Yes, because 26th is Sunday.
Yes, Sunday.
You are correct. On the 25th, that one, there's going to be an unveiling. I thought it was interesting that he said, Ata wakichukua SG, HE Simbaya, HE Simbaya.
Kiniangalia,
he was dropping
kiko, macho iko, masikio, na mdomo yangu iko.
Bado iko.
Nasikia mnataka kunipatia kiti kubwa.
He was dropping some HE hints over the weekend, so it was interesting to see. After Ruto Nisisi, DP Kindiki tells Mount Kenya East residents. Okay.
After Ruto?
Nisisi.
What does that even mean?
Sifuna, sorry.
Oh, Nisisi, okay.
I don't know. Is Nisisi as in they want to be president of the country?
Oh.
Are you understand?
So, okay.
You get
after kumi yake, kumi yangu, and then kumi yangu, kumi yake.
Yes. Have you heard of something called wishful thinking? Oh, sorry. Gosh, Nduh, say some things out loud.
Nah, it's good. It's good to have hope. Less.
Tales of women rebuilding their lives after hard times in prison. Rael Lepate was arrested at her home for a crime committed by a relative who escaped. When she appeared in court, she asked what her crime was. Her refusal to testify against her relative landed her in trouble, and she was sentenced to 3 years behind bars. Her children, still young, would visit only to be turned away by prison officers. Jail time is not easy. You get abused and mistreated sometimes and stressed by some officers. Sometimes you get sent things from relatives outside prison, but you are denied them. She's coming out of that now and telling the story about how she's going to get back into it. Mudavadi is calling for national unity ahead of 2027. Is it? And he's shaking the hands of some robed gentlemen. Mobilization. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi is welcomed by Chief Priest Jack Aluse alongside Priest Samson Jumba of the African Israel Nineveh Church. Okay.
Just finish that statement. During
mega usuhuda.
Got you.
Ushuhuda.
Yes.
Ushuhuda Sunday in Westlands Primary School in Nairobi. Where?
Ushuhuda is testimony.
I normally hear Amani saying Ushuhuda. That's what it is. Wow. All right. Kiswahili is tested. Where? Chacha Mucha told me the last week that I need to polish up on my Kiswahili. Chacha, this is for you. I am polishing on my Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm still on the name of that church.
Nineveh.
It's not just Nineveh, Bwana. It's Africa Israel Nineveh Church. Yes. Confusing us. Where are we exactly?
You should attend one day. They play some good drums. Yo, very beautiful.
Okay. We need to get you some activities. We need to find you things to do.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, we need to find you.
You should try it someday.
Where have you heard what this dude is saying? We need to find you something to do. Where?
It's a phenomenon, I tell you.
So when the CS went to Nineveh, he said, we have to come together.
Okay.
So as they were giving Ushuda that day.
Ushuhuda.
That's what it looks like. Ushuhuda.
Yeah. Let's as we go to the music.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
A family in Ruri Ward, All Kalau constituency in Nyandarua County is demanding justice following the death of a relative who was allegedly attacked during the 16th July parliamentary by-election. The family says 45-year-old Zakaria Gakinya was assaulted by armed men near a polling station while returning home after casting his vote. He later died while undergoing treatment. His widow Mary Wanjiru said she learned of the incident after a friend informed her that her husband had been taken to a private hospital following the attack. According to the family, Gakinya sustained severe head and body injuries before being transferred to a hospital in Nakuru for specialized treatment.
Bwanangu wanga na votia hapa Huhoini na Miruri, kila mtu alienda kuvote. Mimi nikavote na nikarudi kazini. Nafanyanga kazi ya salon. Kitu saa 11:06 nikapiga simu nimjulie hali. Nilipiga simu ikachukuliwa na neighbor akaniambia wako hosi Pine. Walikuwa wamemchapa mpaka huku mgongo, lakini uchungu kubwa ilikuwa walimuumiza kutoka hapa. Juu alikuwa anakaa kufura. Juu hata nikimkuta hosi alikuwa ananiambia Kishiro, hao watu wameniumiza, mimi hata siwajua wameniuliza nini. Na juu alikuwa analia uchungu, nimpe maji nimpe dawa, ilibidi nimtulize. Nikamwambia wewe tulia, nikutafutie maji.
Public Service CS Geoffrey Ruku has expressed confidence that President William Ruto will win the 2027 general election even without the support of the Mount Kenya West region. Speaking in Kabartonjo, Baringo County, Ruku said former Ol-Kalou MP Kihika Kimani contested against former President Daniel Arap Moi in a by-election but failed to stop Moi from winning the subsequent general election. Said President Ruto's re-election bid will not depend solely on votes from Mount Kenya West, citing the 2013 general election in which former President Uhuru Kenyatta defeated Raila Odinga despite a closely contested race.
Kuna itungati zile ambazo zimeamua ya kwamba sitaunga mkono Rais William Ruto 2027 mpaka 2032. Na mimi niko pale kuhakikisha kwamba nitakusanya vitungati yote ya Mlima Kenya, hata kama haitawezekana yote, lakini nitahakikisha kwamba ya Mount Kenya East tutakuwa tumenainika sawa sawa zote, tukielekea kwa ndepe ya Mheshimiwa William Ruto kuhakikisha kwamba more than 2 million votes kutoka kona hiyo ya mlima itakuwa yote kwa ndepe ya Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto.
He further dismissed the political influence of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, saying leaders in Mount Kenya East will not allow his influence to extend into the area. And DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua has urged tourists and investors to defer travel and investment in Kenya, citing what he described as rising insecurity across the country. Speaking in Kerugoya, Kirinyaga County, Gachagua said the security situation remains unsatisfactory and appealed to visitors and investors to wait until next year before coming to Kenya. His remarks comes days after the DCP won the Ol-Kalou parliamentary by-election. Gachagua described the victory as an indication of the political direction ahead of the 2027 general election, claiming the main contest will be between President William Ruto and the Mount Kenya region. He also alleged that the government deployed significant public resources during the Ol-Kalou campaigns to influence voters, adding that the unity of the Mount Kenya region will be key in determining the outcome of the next general election.
Itakuwa namna gani police service imeingiliwa na goons? Imekuwaje maofisa rogue police officers wana take over Ol-Kalou, wanapiga tear gas mpaka county commissioner? If the state cannot protect the people shall protect themselves. Kwa hivyo Kenya is not safe for tourism, it's not safe for investors. Lakini sisi wa Kenya vile hatuwezi hama. Nyinyi watalii mkae huko, msiumizwe. Investors mkae huko, lakini sisi wa Kenya hatuwezi enda.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Temur.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
You have land, Dennis. Yeah. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around. Why? Tell me what is.
So first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutanu, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 7 after 7 on the 7th month of the year. It's the 20th of July. Thank you so much for being here in the Situation Room with us this Monday morning. And we're looking into the state of the nation at this hour. We're going to get into that in just a minute. But you've let us know that KPC, beyond just moving fuel from one place to another, is doing more for its community.
Yes, it is doing more for the community because it is investing into smart children within communities and making sure they go to school, they get the best education there is so that they're able to plug back into the system, into the country and continue pushing the economy. But let me tell you how they're able to achieve that. So you think about energy, you think about petroleum products and what that does to an economy. And it is the engine that drives every other sector you think about. Think about the transport sector, think about manufacturing. You want to leave the country today, perhaps you want to go enjoy celebration in Spain. You need jet fuel to be present for you to be able to move. So KPC is pushing product from the port of Mombasa to the lakeside city of Kisumu and further all the way to Uganda. Talk about integration and energy security that is needed for any country to move forward. We could be talking about the Strait of Hormuz and how difficult it is, but once the product gets here, for it to get to you, KPC is managing over 1,700 kilometers of pipe, state-of-the-art infrastructure to ensure that you are able to get this product. So KPC is telling you that you go to kpc.co.ke to get more information, but more importantly, Kenya Pipeline, bomba letu, ukuaji wetu.
Kabisa. Okay. It sounds like it just wouldn't be right if I didn't say kabisa after you said that.
Exactly.
All right. And so our conversation then this hour takes us to look into the state of the nation. And, what are we looking at that I could possibly pretend as we go into the near future? And that because of the by-election, which folks said doesn't, before that, it was a big deal. But then after, maybe not such a big deal. But we're going to do that conversation this hour. And two gentlemen join us to then be able to do that. Policy and governance analyst Bosco Kira is here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Nduh. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We must note that you were here even before even before Pambazuko.
Yeah. I'm an early bird.
You're an early bird.
Yeah.
Let's see if you catch the worm.
Sure.
Dr. Hesband Owila is a communication and political analyst and also joins us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It seems that you've caught the pink fever that Dennis Aseto has started.
I got the memo.
You got the memo.
These people of Migori.
Okay. That's where we're going to go. Okay, fantastic. Gentlemen, welcome both of you as we look into this conversation this morning. There are quite a number of things to do today, whether it's intrigues or whether it's, actual what the case may be. But before we do that, Dennis has taken us to a wonderful country this week.
Yeah, we are in Madagascar. The people of Madagascar are known as the Malagasy people. And one thing that stands out is if you enjoy your vanilla, perhaps there is a high possibility that that vanilla came from Madagascar, because it is the largest producer and exporter of vanilla, as well as the fact that 90% of wildlife in Madagascar can only be found in Madagascar. So if you remember the penguins of Madagascar and King Julian, you can only see King Julian, the real King Julian, in Madagascar, nowhere else, right? And it's the 4th largest island in the world. But the probe that we get today is: do not laugh at the fallen. You may find slippery roads ahead. Do not laugh at the fallen. You may find slippery roads ahead. Dr. How would you interpret it?
Well, I think you interpret it quite differently, but the long and short of it is when you see a man fall, don't laugh. Learn.
Yeah.
Learn from it, because you never know what's ahead.
Yeah. Bosco.
I would go with the same. Don't laugh at anyone when you see. Don't be a sadist. Don't get excited when someone is in trouble. What goes around comes around.
Indeed.
It could come back to you.
Yeah. Well said. Well interpreted, Senator.
Those are very interesting facts about Madagascar. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So as we get into this conversation last week, of course, everybody's still reeling from what happened in Okoh last week, and that people have seemed to take that and apply it to other situations where they will be, whereby folks thought that an Okoh by-election would not have any impact on the politics or the thoughts of the people moving forward. Perhaps the activities or the happenings over the weekend would then prove otherwise. We start with you, Dr. Wheeler, that whereby it was a by-election, which on the political calendar for many is inconsequential. But in this case, it was quite, because many an intrigue came out of this. And we then went into the weekend where in another part of the country, people were saying, well, if you don't come and give us, then you have no space to talk to us. So was the by-election in Okoh consequential to the country's politics moving forward?
I think, consequential in a number of fronts. First, we saw the influx of almost the who is who in the government go to Okoh campaign for the broad-based candidate. And I think the goodies that they took there sort of caught many Kenyans' attention. And that basically tells you that the premium is extremely high right now. That you won't go campaigning in any part of this world unless, especially if you're from the broad-based side of the government, unless you meet that threshold. Already people are demanding so much, and I think Okoh becomes the benchmark. That if this is what you're giving in Okoh, then you can't go below that, especially in areas that would be seen to be swing counties. Okoh wasn't. So I think for me that's the first key thing, that the premium seems to be going high and higher, and the electorate will keep demanding much and much more from the political class. And then secondly, I think it is consequential in the sense that all along we've had this conversation around the mountain is behind Rigathi Gachagua. And then there was the contrary conversation that President William Ruto didn't get the mountain vote because of Rigathi Gachagua. And I think the previous by-elections that we've seen in Barasa North, in other parts of the country, have consistently shown that opposition has nothing on this regime, especially the broad-based. And I think it was just important for Rigathi Gachagua that he asserted himself. A number of political commentators are saying that he knew that he needed DCP to have the first win as a big win. And that's why he didn't go to Barasa North, because Barasa North was a DP candidate. That is who they fronted. And he thought that because Mbeere North is, well, there is the Mount Kenya thinking, but it is not predominantly Kikuyu. Yet, Olkalau is pretty much homogeneously a Kikuyu constituency. So there's a sense in which he wanted to make a statement by winning big, and I think he did. I mean, 85% plus of the vote basically tells you that those who think that he doesn't have, the mountain vote behind him, especially the Kikuyu mountain vote behind him, are now thinking twice that, this guy actually has these numbers.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of that playing at the national level, I think it only benefits one person. It's only Rigathi Gachagua, because then it gives him an opportunity to assert himself. Probably, if he's not the candidate for the opposition, he's probably going to have a bigger say on who that candidate becomes, because he can now start asserting himself and saying, I told you that these numbers are with me. You saw 85% was with me, despite the government, descending into Olkalau. So does that, help the opposition? I doubt. It does help Rigathi Gachagua. And I think the way he has come out to assert himself as this guy who was, walloped, the broad-based regime, sort of frames this conversation around President William Ruto against Rigathi Gachagua. And you see, there are a number of Kenyans who are looking at President William Ruto and thinking, this regime has not given us so much that they promised. So there's a sense in which there's a sizable number of Kenyans who are disgruntled with this regime, and they're thinking, is there an alternative? Now you direct them to Rigathi Gachagua, and I think the conversation shifts. They're like, this was a team that has done so much for this country that is not in the interest of so many Kenyans. So where is the shorter presidency that team is likely to go to? That thinking is likely to take people to President William Ruto, because you don't want to start a longer journey with Rigathi Gachagua. And simply put, if President William Ruto is not a favorite of many Kenyans, I think Rigiji emerging and framing himself as the alternative is even a bigger problem for the opposition. Whether he's the candidate or he supports someone, it essentially makes President William Ruto a better option.
I mean, Bosco, with what Dr. has said, there is also the aspect that what Kenyans are now feeling, even if you look at the analysis here, we want dignity, equity, and leaders who serve us every day. Why is that now a key statement that Kenyans are saying out there? Is because all of a sudden, because there was a by-election, we saw development that was missing in Olkalau for the past 4 years, but all of a sudden now, in like 3 months, we see development, billions of shillings being poured there. And in every other constituencies, Kenyans now are saying, if $1 billion plus shillings could be spent in 3 weeks, then these billions as well could be spent in our constituencies. Only that, as at now, they do not see our value. And Kenyans are saying, we want leaders who work for us across board. What has development that was poured into Olkalau mean for the rest of Kenyans in all these other constituencies? Because many are saying, if you could do it there, you could do it here. How difficult a task has it become now for members of parliament to go back to their constituencies and talk to their people about development?
Wow. Thank you so much, Dennis, for this question. And I would like to look at it first of all, allow me to congratulate the people of Olkalau. One, for voting peacefully. Well, even if there were incidents here and there, you and I know, and everyone knows, there are some by-elections that were bad, and there were deaths and so many bad things that happened. So we congratulate the people of Olkalau for voting or exercising their democratic right in a peaceful manner. Because the voting was peaceful, counting was peaceful, announcement was peaceful. Also congratulate the MP-elect, that is Ngodo. He brought a spirited fight against the government, and he won. And in this case, the people of Olkalau spoke boldly about what they want and what they don't want. And as any political party, whether a party that lost has to pick lessons and build from there. That is one. Two, I wanted to say about the issues of development. Dennis, not convinced that because we have a by-election, that development should stop. there was NGCDF in that sub-county, or rather constituency, before the member of parliament died. So there were plans by the NGCDF, there were plans by the county government. So there were budgets, there were plans, and so we cannot say the development should stop because there is a by-election. However, if there are other developments that came extra during this period, what is critical is were the funds used prudently, first of all. Two, if there are issues of bribery and this manner of things, IEBC has an opportunity, or rather, this is the work of the IEBC, and this is why they need to investigate more and put people to bar. Also, I wish to congratulate IEBC on one item: the way they conducted the by-election by itself. And IEBC has already opened an opportunity right now on campaign financing. So people may be complaining here and there, but what is critical during this period is a voter has an opportunity to present their memoranda and give their voice on campaign financing that will help to curb some of these behaviors we are seeing. As you talk about that, what are some of the lessons people are picking from this by-election? The by-election was quite heated. There are people who have gotten what they wanted. There are people who have won. Others are crying. Obviously, someone who wins will always celebrate. Rigathi Gachagua has won an important by-election, to be fair to him, in this during this period. Out of the other 10 by-elections or so that have been there, the broad-based, both UD and ODM has always dominated, and it's a win for him. It's a plus for him in terms of his career as moves to, or rather DCP as moves to 2027. But what is critical as we move forward is what I'm concerned about his win, and after that, some of the remarks he's making, for example, telling the young people of Mount Kenya to come out, protect the community, things like that may not... we know if you are here in 2007, that's how war started in this country. So our leaders need to be careful on how they implement their campaign manifesto, their way of doing things. Because, for example, the issue of goonism came out very well in this by-election, and it has been there before. The problem with goonism, for example, is the politicians themselves. Because when you go to a rally, for example, nowadays it has become very obvious to hire any goon anywhere. But besides that, the questions we need to ask ourselves about goonism and used in election and by-elections, the problem is the unemployment. So are these even leaders ready, willing to have the goodwill to make these young people get employment?
I mean, Dr. is goonism a subject of unemployment, or is poverty being weaponized? Because if we look at what happened in Okoh, the goonism that we saw pretty much were masked men with high-end vehicles, brandishing weapons. You know, we also saw the attack on campaign caravans for Rigathi Gachagua. And one asked the question, has poverty been weaponized to the advantage of those who can pay some token here and there?
I think you're spot on. And maybe we need to ask ourselves, who is the goon? So the person who has weaponized poverty is essentially the goon, the person who is taking advantage of the vulnerable, men and women. I mean, we keep saying youths, they are not. I mean, if you analyze the profile of the people who met violence on people in this public rally, they're actually guys well into their 40s and 50s. Guys who've lived and probably realized that things are not going to be better. They've got pretty much less to lose. And politicians, who are the real goons, if you ask me, are taking advantage of these individuals. Instead of coming up with programs, legislation, and oversight the government to ensure that the government is providing an environment that can help these men and women in this country make a livelihood, they've created a system. They've created a system that benefits the political class by perpetuating a dependency culture. So they benefit from this system, and on one front, on the first front, they benefit from this system by ensuring that these people remain dependent. But on the second front, they benefit from this system as a political class, simply because it protects their political clout. So what happens is, one, instead of debate, they inculcate a culture of fear. So if you're coming with an alternative perspective, probably an alternative perspective that will address the plight of these men and women who are taken advantage of, they create an environment where no one will listen to you and you'll be afraid of articulating your issues. And then number two, instead of persuasion, they've entrenched a culture of intimidation. You're intimidated. In 1992, after the 1992 general election, there were a number of by-elections, if you remember. Some of us were pretty young, but I remember in Migori constituency, in Nyatike constituency, in Nduh constituency, and there's a constituency in the coastal region. There were by-elections in areas where Ford Kenya had won. And I think it was influenced by the fact that Moi was afraid of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga having more MPs in parliament and being the official leader of opposition. Remember, Jaramogi was not even number 2. Jaramogi was number 4. But he had more MPs. And I think the intention was to cripple him, have less Ford Kenya MP and have Ford Kenya just as a parliamentary political party, but not the official opposition party. And I remember walking to Migori Stadium and listening to a number of candidates who came forward for the by-election, because the Ford Kenya candidate who had won was now contesting on a Kanu ticket. So Ford Kenya had to get candidates. And there were a couple of candidates. I remember one called Charles Ogut, who was by then a university student. We went and listened. But you see, the political class today understands that if Hesbon Owila pops up and he has ideas and people listen to him, the likelihood of fresh ideas challenging the status quo is extremely high and addressing the plight of these men and women. So they've created a culture that sustains, their privileged position as a political class at the expense of the vulnerable masses. So for me, if you ask me today, they are no goons. They are no goons. They are Kenyans who are looking for leadership. They are Kenyans who are looking for opportunities. They are Kenyans who wake up and they want to fend for their families. But then they are political leaders who've become goons, who've created a system, they're sustaining it because it benefits them. They go out and take advantage of those Kenyans. And it is very unfortunate that the government of the day has failed to crack on this. Because the buck, stops with the president and the people the president has put in place to just stop this once and for all. Today, they'll block the member of parliament who is trying to challenge my MP, for instance, in Embakasi South. They'll block him with motorbikes. Tomorrow after the election, this politician probably go for recess after winning or wherever, dealing with his stress. They'll block me or they'll block you. And no one will do nothing because they won't have the politicians to pay them. But they'll still look for a way of, meeting their daily expenses. They'll end up creating a very chaotic system that thrives on impunity as they're looking for money.
It seems as though one of the things that we forgot through all of this is what the voice of the people was actually saying. And that maybe the sub-question to this is, these things now that were being brought to Olkalau, Bosco, do you think that they will continue? The electricity poles that were dropped...
research boats.
Yeah, the boats remain. The mattresses, which we already heard that there were some members of the community who actually took these mattresses to JM Karaoke Hospital. They were wondering, okay, so what happens when this gas cylinder is empty? Who's going to refill it? Do you think that those things that were done now will continue? Or finish even?
Yeah. For me, I think it will depend. First of all, politics is war. And in war, you go with the best arsenal that you have. And if opposition, the best arsenal they have was chanting and this language and the other one, and someone else who is pro-government had some resources at his disposal as part of a tool to use in war to bring development to the people, I don't think the people of Olkalau have a problem with the development they were given, first of all. Why? Because if you are, there's a one time in Barra North, I met an old lady who lived in a madhouse, and then this electricity that was brought, and the kids could use electricity in the house. So one day she asked me, So you, Bosco, you're telling me not to vote for the government. These people have never seen electricity in my entire life. My children have never seen it. So why are you telling me to trust someone who is saying they want opposition? And also, mind you, the opposition want the position to bring development to the people. So why do you want me to trust that person who is saying, I'm talking about Mbeere North, and this other one is bringing. Now, on the issue of now how that one is persuading the voter at the end of the day, the development aspect of it, it's helpful to the candidates of the government to campaign. It may be wrong for the extra development that came, and the question you're asking whether it will continue. It may continue depending on how the current member of parliament who was elected will behave in this. Naturally, people keep saying you don't need to be in government to enjoy the development of your area.
You shouldn't need to be.
Relax.
I'm saying.
You guys relax. Can I put my case across? You don't. According to our constitution, theoretically, you don't require. There's a process to getting development to Mwananchi, which involves the process of budget estimates brought to the National Assembly or County Assembly, approved by MCAs, implementation is done. That's the right way it's supposed to be done. But over the years, and even now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying how it has been happening on the ground. So it happens that even in a home, if you are a father, the kid who is very obedient, when you're sharing sweets, you give him first. And then you bring the other one here and scold him and ask him, I sent you yesterday, you didn't go. So what happens normally in government circles? If you are opposition member of parliament, for you even to call a PS or a CS to pick your phone call, to forward on a certain project, it becomes problematic to you. The other thing is, I would not be surprised if Ngodo, after swearing in after a month, he goes and supports the government agenda because he wants to be elected in 2027. So the only thing for him to do, he might follow what all the other leaders have been doing. I'm not saying it is right. I'm just saying that is what has been happening.
Okay, so...
But one thing which was very unique to do in that election is the Gen Z voter. I looked at those crowds. Gen Zs did not come out to vote. And that's a concern.
Okay, it's one of the concerns that we'll bring up as we continue this conversation. Then also come back and say again, going back to what actually the voice of the people is here. Yeah. Because we see that voice also reverberating in other parts of the country who are now saying, well, if you want us to listen to you, then perhaps you must do something for us. But was the intent to develop or was the intent to get a vote? Those are two totally different things. Husband Wheeler as well as Bosco Curio are with us this morning. We'll come back and we'll talk more when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
All right, cloudy conditions continue in Nairobi this morning. Currently at 14, we will see a high of 25 and a low of 13. It is mostly rather partly sunny at 16, looking into Nakuru, and we'll see a high of 27 and a low of 14. Njeri this morning is 13 and sunny. We'll see a high of 23 and a low of 12. And Eldoret, yes, currently at 14 degrees and mostly cloudy. We'll come into Monday with a high of 23. It's sunny at 20, looking into Kisumu, and sunny at 16 in Kakamega. 24 and partly sunny in Mombasa with a high of 28, and we'll see a high of 30 in a mostly cloudy Malindi at 25. It's 19 and sunny in Marsabit, while at 19 it's sunny in Kampala, 21 and mostly sunny in Dar es Salaam. 8 degrees and clear in Johannesburg. We'll see a high of 22, and it's mostly cloudy at 26 in Lagos and 13 and sunny in London. It's 30 and mostly cloudy in Beijing and 22 and clear in New York.
Chilled Spice.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, let's take a look at what it looks like into the city this morning. It is pretty heavy still coming off of North Airport Road towards Embakasi and also inbound from Embakasi right around Outer Ring. We have some traffic then out into that direction. As you come off of the Thika Superhighway past that Outer Ring junction, you'll find most of the traffic on the Thika Superhighway this morning contained to right around the Pangani underpass. But apart from that, most people are heading into the CBD this morning. It's still at a dull roar. Let's see what happens as we get into the morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
So many forward here. Titles are on the line. Rivalries are at their peak. This is the final stretch where legends rise and champions are made. From the Saudi League to the Bundesliga and La Liga. Recharge your monthly subscription today to feel the pressure, feel the passion, feel the game. Every pass, every goal, every moment matters. Don't miss a moment. Renew your subscription and stay in the game. To renew your subscription, dial *858# for self-service or get in touch with our call center on 0719 077 077 for customer care. Buy a StarTimes decoder at any of our dealer shops countrywide. Download the StarTimes On app to enjoy all your favorite shows and stream live channels on the move. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Sebastian
A whole decade of style, flavor, and unforgettable memories. The Hub Karen is turning 10 and you're invited to the ultimate celebration. Join the Hub 10 Million Step Challenge on Saturday, July the 18th or indulge at the Table for 10 Food Festival on Sunday, August the 2nd. Come celebrate 10 years of community and experiences. Head over to the Hub Karen today.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, coming back into our conversation this morning with Dr. Hesvan Dawila and Bosco Kiura, and we are looking into what the state of the nation looks like. Well, it's interesting because over the weekend, if there's something that's reverberating through the country now, it's this that, okay, hang on. So government actually does have money to spend on certain things, which should be high on the development agenda for constituencies. We're not even asking about the NGCDF and where that money goes or what it does. But that the people have they realized, Dr. Wheeler, that we know you and we know exactly what it is that you're doing. If you're coming to spend this money, that means you do have it, but you choose not to spend it on things that then affect us and our development. So you may come to hoodwink us with these goodies, but we are still going to make a decision with logic. Is that something that's spreading around the country?
I think it is. It is, and it's a good thing. Because whether the intent is to develop or not, development happens. So people would essentially come to this realization that there's a lot that the government can do because there is money lying somewhere, and people will be a lot more demanding of what the government should do. Essentially, we know that it's the main intention there is to get people to vote for the government of the day, or to get people to vote for the government preferred candidate, simply because now we've brought development. You've been crying for roads, there are roads. You've been crying for electricity, there's electricity. You've been living in deplorable conditions. Here are mattresses. Here now you can cook using LPG gas, and so on and so forth. So you look at that and you're thinking, if the intention of the government is to develop, then that development plan is misplaced. That they're only coming to develop when they're looking for the vote. And there are a number of Kenyans who will be looking at that, and they'll be very critical. They'll be saying that the only time that we need to get what we can out of the establishment is during an election. And once we get that, we can vote whichever way we want to vote. And if I may just respond to what he said, that even the MP-elect might decide that the best thing to do now is to work with the government of the day for the development in Olkalau. I mean, that's a choice that if he makes, I think politically, it will only push him until the next general election.
Yeah.
You know, because of what we've seen. People will celebrate the goodies that come from the establishment, but still vote on the basis of who they think will serve their interest. The other thing that came out clearly is the fact that, in Kenya, there are two categories of Kenyans. And this government has become, or let me say the broad-based has become very strategic in the way they are targeting them. There's a category that is very big on infrastructural development. The government owes this to us. They need to create an enabling environment. And I think there's a track that the government has taken that is taking care of that. So if you look at the road network that is going to the western region, they're actually targeting the people who are asking themselves, these taxes that we are paying, where are they going? But they've also realized that there's a very big chunk of the Kenyan population that hates a poor politician, that hates a campaign period that gives them promises of what will be done and does not give them immediate gratification. And I think that is the population that the people of Olkalau say it exists. They will take the immediate gratification, but they will still vote the way they want to vote. They don't have to vote for the government. It tells you that all these travels that we see in the name of empowerment, led by the deputy president and many MPs, and they contribute millions of shillings. Where they get that money, I don't know. But they are going round because there's a sizable population of Kenyans who believe it is our time to eat. A politician comes for a rally, we need to be left with something. Where I come from, you need to go yours, So the extent to which the government was thinking, or let me say politicians were thinking, that the more you give goodies, the higher the likelihood of you being voted, is increasingly getting debunked in Olkalau. So whereas in Olkalau they were given grand things, in Malava they were given bread and mkate and soda. I think the premium in Malava or areas like Malava will increase, but the reality is they won't have to vote the way the people who are giving them more want them to vote, which for me is a realization that is coming at the right time.
But do we need to have the conversation about where this money comes from?
We need to. I mean, there's a lot of conversations around where this money comes from, and not just the money that they're dishing.
Or that rather what it could actually be doing.
Yes. Basically means that there's a sense in which there's a lot of money, but there's a dearth of a strategic plan to make good use of this money. And I think people have raised a lot of questions that to what extent are these disruptive and landmark projects by this regime working for us? Like, we see things have been done, but we never question to what extent have we had an outlay of capital that is beyond what is required for the things that have been done. Whether it is SHA or all these, small and big infrastructure that they've developed, you ask yourself, this is good, but the initial outlay was just out of this world. Why do we have to spend a lot of billions in a system that fails every other time? And therefore you have a clique of politicians who go saying, SHA is working. The other day, there was even a very interesting one who was telling his people, we need to vote for President William Ruto because when my son did not have school fees, I went to the president and he gave me money. And you ask yourself, what are we talking about? Can all of us go to our MPs, the president, and ask for money for school fees? And is that the basis upon which we need to evaluate the political class? So the questions around funds, where these funds are coming from and how they are used, whether it is judiciously used in the interest of the people, are going to be very critical questions. The only worry is, we make a lot of noise, but no one has. You expect the opposition to put all these things together and have a watertight campaign platform and say, this is what the government is doing that is in the interest of Kenyans.
But even while at that, then, Dr. as you respond, Bosco, what makes us think that the opposition understands it like that, or is it just the same cabal of individuals just in different camps, because as you say, the opposition should take all these and have a case that they can give to Kenyans, but where Kenyans sit, they're looking at the opposition and saying, these are just the same guys, just in different camps, simply because they are not in government. But if all these guys were on the same side, they would just perpetuate the very same things. But that notwithstanding, you look at the the budgets that went into All Kalau, like you've said, development has to be budgeted for. I remember there's a lady in All Kalau who told KTN, hii barabara ilikuja ikakwamia hapa. Whatever remained, wamekuja wamefanya in the last 3 weeks, you know. And she was asking the question, must development stop? That at that point when someone needs votes, it's when they remember there's a road in All Kalau that we never finished, that now we can finish this road for us to see the government is working, for us to give them votes. And that right there should be classified as voter bribery in one way or the other. Because that lady needed that road 4 years ago for her to be able to transport her goods to the market back and forth. You talk about the lady who got power. Fine. If this lady got power 4 years ago, perhaps her decision when it comes to voting the next person would not be based off, I will vote this person because they've given me power, but it's because I have power, but I need to vote someone who resonates with me. Have Kenyans made the connection that a lot that is happening is just wrong and that they need to bring themselves on the table to set the agenda? That agenda is not set by others for them.
Thank you. You know, first of all, Dennis, I'm vying for a position of Member of Parliament in Manyata. And do you know why? Because I've realized the current voter is very enlightened. Right now, if you go to any village, even a granny will tell you there's a finance bill. They know it. And they know they've been holding their leaders accountable on different issues, and it has been happening. However, to answer to something you mentioned about All Kalau and what is happening and the trend, I disagree with that totally, because I've told you there were 10 by-elections. This is the only one that has worked towards that direction. Look at All Kalau historically. 1995, the same thing happened. Government went there with machinery. They voted for an opposition candidate. In the last election, they elected a Jubilee candidate against the wave of UD in that area. However, look at Mbere North, for example. If the argument is development is not working for the by-elections and Malava, as he said, and all that, if it worked there, it may work even in future. The point is, that issue of now the people voting otherwise because of they are punishing, maybe they don't want the development and all that, I am disagreeing with that, because the problem with our society is that, as he said, we are poor. And as long as we are poor, the politicians will always take advantage of the situations. When I say that, I see our country having a lot of inequalities. The margin between the rich and the poor is very big. And that's one of the reasons politicians, be it in the opposition or pro-government, will always use what they have at hand, whether it's dirty money, whether it's whichever method they are using to get that vote. And I have a concern with our constitution. Since the implementation of our constitution, we have always had budget deficits. Do you know why? Because our constitution was extremely expensive. Look at the counties, for example. If I give you 3 scenarios of 3 counties, county of Embu, county of Tharaka Nithi, county of Meru. That's why you're having the conversation of Mount Kenya East and West about resources. Because in the last regime of Jubilee, for example, of Uhuru, all the resources zilikuwa zinafika pale Makutano, zinapika break. So the people are not excited with all the other regimes have like marginalized the Mount Kenya East. And that's why you hear the conversation, trailer imechoka kuvuta mzigo, wacha ikatwe. Because now they see the deception that has been there. You guys, we have been supporting you to get this position. But once you get it, you forget about us. And now you say you want us to help you to put to the basket to get the vote. But Judy, even having said that, when you look at development and how it's affecting our voting patterns, and I said about the counties, these counties, when you look at, do we need 10 CECs, 15 chief officers, directors in each and every county, and look at the revenues that these counties are producing? That I'm showing you where the deficit has been coming all these years. We are having counties that is producing, for example, Embu County is producing around collecting revenue of 700 million. What are they getting from the government? A whole 7 billion. Another county, even those local counties in the Mashinani, are supported by counties like Nairobi, Mombasa, Eldoret, these big counties that collect a lot of revenue. So that inequality, sometimes I think we need a conversation at some point and ask ourselves, are these a number of spending we are having with the staff, chief officers, governors, do we need 40 MCAs in one county? Do we need 30 MCAs in one county assembly that are just getting sitting allowances and all that, becoming expensive? We are talking about a budget of now a deficit of 1.1 trillion. So for how long will this go on?
The reason why you have a 1.1 trillion budget deficit is that because 80% of your revenue is going towards paying debt, which in Kenya, you have 2 instances under which you can borrow, according to the same constitution. 1, for development, and 2, in the case of a budget shortfall, but within the short term of no longer than 90 days. It's clear. But if you have a debt of 13 trillion shillings, what that means is that it stifles everything else out. This money that has been borrowed, and stop me if I'm wrong, Dr. Wheeler, is supposed to have gone towards the very developments that people are crying about today that cannot happen because there is not enough money.
Correct.
But you are paying debt for that development. So there is crime upon crime upon crime upon crime
over the years
that Kenyans are still having to pay for. So had that original idea been actually seen to fruition, Kenya would not be having the issue that it's having today. But if for every 100 shillings you're paying 79 to debt, tell me in which fantasy world you will be able to take that 21 shillings on the 100 and do everything that you have to do, that you have mentioned. Pay all of these people who sit in the county assembly, pay all of these people, and then still develop. Sounds like
that is happening in each and every county.
You know,
every county, all the county.
I mean, you know, politics is very expedient, and I'm sure most of the people who are talking about the cost of running county governments and the national government are the same people who've been against any constructive remodification of the constitution. Because at some point there were those conversations that counties are not sustainable. They need some sort of a regional cluster, simply because why would you have a CEC for sports in Homa Bay and another CEC for sports in Migori and another one in Kisii and Nyamira, and they're neighboring? And if anything, the sports that they play cuts across those counties. So I think those are very serious conversations around governance, but they're masking the real issue that we need to probably focus on. It is very simple. If we keep borrowing, like today, if you take it at a personal or family household level, if today my income and my wife's income can get us a loan of 10 million, and we take that loan of 10 million, in which case our salaries will be servicing that loan, and we squander that 10 million, it basically means we've not created an environment that will enable us pay that loan. So we are not getting revenues to pay that loan. And our salary is already depleted. We will continue living in a deplorable condition. And I think the critical question that we need to ask these many leaders that we give powers, from MCAs, women rep, senators, is the question of why do you allow Kenyans, to live in a country where borrowing makes our condition a lot more deplorable, because we are borrowing with the intention. The Constitution is very clear that borrowing is only meant for investment in development, in which case it's supposed to create an environment that can make the country more. But in a situation where we have odious debts, you don't even know where these debts went to, what they finance, and we are paying. I think the circle is vicious. And instead of blaming the leadership that we have, because we're not going to take these counties away, that's for a fact.
No.
It is impossible to go to Migori County and say, now we are going to reduce the number of MCAs. We'll be like, we only have 4 wards in Suna East. And the guys in Suna East will say, no way, we are not going to seat even one, you see. But we have a reason to ask our ward representatives, hey, wait, you're an MCA, members of counties, you're an MCA. Now we need to see value for money. Whatever money is coming down to the ward level, how is it spent? You are a member of parliament. There are 2 things which are even contradictory. First of all, you're a member of parliament, you're supposed to oversight the national government, and then you're also given resources to spend. happened, in contravention of the Constitution. Even the NGCDF Act in itself does not envision a situation where an MP is involved in this, but they are involved. So it is for Kenyans to start asking, now if money is spent on this, it needs to be judicious enough, and we need to see a return on investment.
Do you think that the leaders that we have today, MCAs, members of parliament, understand their role? Because perhaps maybe we're sitting here and assuming that these are individuals who understand their roles based off what the Constitution says. Because you find, and what angers me is because I remember at some point even my member of parliament in Nyamita went to the president saying, Mimi, I'm working with the government so that I can get development. Yet he sits in the National Assembly where budgeting happens, where he can push even for private members' bill for development to come to his constituency, because development is not a favor. It is a right for every other Kenyan. Do people who are in these offices understand their role?
Let me tell you, the ones who understand use that understanding for their own benefit and the benefit of the people that they're supposed to make work for Kenyans. It's simply what your MP said, that they understand their role, but then they've decided to use the power of their role to act on the whims of the president or the executive. Now, at the national level, it is not bad. At the county assembly and the county level, it is worse, because either MCAs don't understand their roles, or if they do understand their roles, now they're using that against the governor. So there's no development. But to a large extent, what they don't understand, even at the county assembly, a committee at the county assembly, once constituted, has the powers equivalent to a high court. In which case, they can censor any CEC. They can even censor the governor. Now, that power has never been exercised. You come from Migori. There was a time we had a governor who had the whole world on his neck. Cases upon cases. So many things. Not even one MCA raised an issue at the county assembly. Not even one. Now ask yourself, is it that they didn't know nothing was happening? Today as we speak, governors, and this is from members of parliament that we interact with, they tell you the shocking details of what governors are doing. That instead of paying salaries, they hold that money to earn interest. And you ask yourself, is it that MCAs don't know? MCAs know, but they're just like, okay, if you can do that, then we need to get our cut out of it. And it's the unfortunate thing that at the county level, let me tell you, when I was growing up, health centers were working better than they are working now, but there was no devolution. Health centers were, as in, I would leave my high school and go to the local health center and get treated and go back to school. Now today, health is devolved. That money goes to the county. It is closer to the people. In the run-up to the 2022 general election, folks in Suna East were telling me, boss, us, we don't need anything. We don't even need roads. But we just need access to medical and health services close to us. That is all we need. Guys who are from very far off. Now, that was 2022. 2022 was how many years after devolution? So many years. So either these people understand, the people who are supposed to oversight both the county and the national government, either they understand and they're using that to their advantage, or they don't understand. And if they don't understand, I think the problem is whoever gives them that power.
Is there time for a systemic change? Because all of the things that we're talking about now seem to have been practiced and entrenched over time. That it's almost assumed that certain things will happen. But that we take ourselves away from the reality that Kenya probably has enough money to pay its debt. That Kenya probably has enough money to do this development that we talk about if it was not being stolen. Because we go back to that question and we say, how is it possible that somebody can say, how can you spend 10 billion and 1 billion and somebody comes and answers you and says it can even be 10 billion? In the light and in the face of all of these things that are going on, is it time for a system? It's the system that needs to actually be uprooted, overhauled and tossed into the rubbish bin, and then you reinstitute it.
I agree totally. Nduh and Dennis and my Daktari here, my friend Daktari. one thing I will talk about, by the way, I'm very passionate about devolution. I was the assistant to Governor Wambora in 2013 as an advisor when we started, and I was actually behind the strategy of the 9 lives. I'm very passionate about devolution. I've even written a book I'll bring you about power to the people. The reason I'm saying about all this devolution and the issues Nduh is talking about is our constitution is very clear on the roles of members of parliament and members of county assembly. It is to do representation, legislation, and oversight. Those 3 things, that's what I have a problem with. Why? Our current architecture of how the members of parliament should implement budgets. Listen to this. It is the work of the member of county assembly or MP to approve the budget. So there are budget estimates brought by the executive, and then it's approved by the member of county assembly, and then this member of county assembly or member of parliament implements these projects. Because let's be sincere, through, for example, CDF, NGCDF, there are committees. Who elects these committees? It is a member of parliament, more or less, in another way. Not unless we want to lie to ourselves. They are not involved. So you have given me money, I have approved the money, then I go to implement, then you expect me to oversight it. Okay? So I think if you have to have a discussion on what to change in our constitution, I have a big problem with, even if now you hear I want to become a member of parliament, I want to become a member of parliament, you give me budget, I approve, I implement, then I oversight. That's why there are a lot of deficit you're talking about in our system, because all members of parliament do, they don't even involve contractors nowadays. So what they will do is they will get companies to, which will be pre-qualified under NGCDF in their constituencies, but they are the same guys who are implementing those projects. For example, I'm the member of parliament. I know what they're doing. I'm a member of parliament. Then I call you to come with a company. I say we want to save cost. We don't want to go the procurement process of coming contractors and all that. I'll be the one painting that classroom. So the money will be coming back to me. And then I'll want that money so that I give back to this community. Do you know how the voters we are contributing to that menace ourselves? Because, as he said, the roles of the member of parliament are well known, the 3 of them. But now the society, because of inequalities and the problems people are having on the ground, kuna mazishi, kuna hospitali. So what do you do?
Which goes back to if you change the system and those things are working in the first
So let's start with this one.
We can't even start.
Conflict of interest. The conflict of interest of the 3 roles. You see, that's where the problem is.
Exactly. This is the state of the nation. These are the issues that we speak of, and we can't stop speaking about them. But we want to thank you both gentlemen for joining us this morning, Dr. Husband Awila, as well as Bosco Kura. Thank you for joining us this morning. It doesn't stop. We keep talking.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good morning. Asante.
News from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is Danezwa. I'm Sheila Tembor. Members of the Mulembe community living in Nairobi have been urged to unite and strengthen their political voice ahead of the 2027 general election. Speaking in Westlands, Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi said he will tour all 17 constituencies in Nairobi County to mobilize members of the Mulembe community to support President William Ruto's re-election bid. Mudavadi said a united community will strengthen its political influence and help lay the foundation for the election of a Luhya president in 2032.
Tuache huo mchezo, tujipange ndio tuwe na nguvu. Lakini hatuwezi kuwa tunafanya kitu kiholela holela, alafu tunafikiri Mheshimiwa Raila alipanga watu. Ruto anapanga watu wake. Wale wengine wanapanga watu wake. Kwa hivyo tukijipanga, we shall succeed and we shall have enough MPs and enough MCAs hapa Nairobi. Election ambayo inakuja 2027. Mheshimiwa William Ruto ataepuka kama mshindi kuwa rais kwa awamu ya pili hapa Kenya.
Kirinyaga woman representative Njeri has endorsed DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua as the opposition's preferred presidential candidate for the 2027 general election. Speaking in Kirinyaga, Maina said Gachagua has demonstrated the ability to mobilize voters and lead the opposition, arguing that he is best placed to challenge President William Ruto.
Yeye yani yeye Mwanrigiji peke yake anaweza kutoa kura, alinde kura, ahakikishe kwamba Kasongo hajaiba, ampeleke nyumbani. Na nataka nitangaze tukiwa hapa Kirinyaga, mahali ambapo we milk lions while seated on porcupines, the sixth president of the Republic of Kenya will be Rigathi Gachagua. Na sisi kama jeshi ya Rigiji, vita tutapigana.
And Nyandarua Senator John Mathew has accused Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen of fueling political violence ahead of the 2027 general election. In an interview with a local TV station, Mathew alleged that individuals who disrupted an opposition church meeting in Witima, Njeri County were the same people involved in violence during the recent Okoh parliamentary by-election. He claimed their identities had been submitted to the IG and accused the Interior Ministry of operating a parallel militia outside the National Police Service. Mathew insisted there was no security threat in Okoh to justify the violence and maintained that the opposition remains focused on defeating President William Ruto in the 2027 election.
This man, Kipchumba Murkomen, is a recipe for chaos in 2027 because the goons who attacked us in church in Witima, the very same people are some of those who came to Okoh. So therefore, and there are also those who are at All Saints Cathedral here, and their faces are known. You pray them here every time. We have given their names to the Inspector General of Police. So this is just a special school that he has outside the main National Police Service. How therefore would you say that you are Minister for Interior, a Minister for our own internal security, and you are running a parallel militia that is meant to deal with other people politically? Because you see, there was no threat of any nature in Okoh.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament, so...
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said...
The government.
Yeah, when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there because he keep on telling us that these experts you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually
take us to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu waulizi na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very good morning to you, and our conversations continue. It is 9 minutes after 8 o'clock and into the third hour of the Situation Room this morning. Thank you for being here. As we get into some of these today, we're going to be talking about what it took to win an election, but beyond that, what the voice of the people are actually saying. Before we do that, though, Bomba.
Yes, let me tell you about Bomba and how important it is. Now, for a very long time, we've talked about integration and how that is key. Because integration then would open up markets. So you think about the region, say Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. What's the population? And if that population is open up for business, then imagine what that would mean to small businesses, to manufacturing in the region, because they have access to millions and millions of people. Now, Kenya Pipeline Company is here to tell you that they are the engine behind that, because they're able to transport petroleum products from Mombasa to Kisumu all the way to Uganda. And with that, then economies in that belt continue to move forward. Now, the engineers are saying they have over 1,700 kilometers of pipe that is transporting these precious cargo from Mombasa all the way to Uganda. And through this state-of-the-art world-class pipeline, and with engineers who are looking at the automated facility, they're able to deliver these fuel in a sure, precise, in a predictable manner that is secure as well for the region to continue moving forward. So aside from just making sure that the economies move, they're equally investing back into the community by taking smart kids to school, who will then come back and plug into the economy and continue pushing that engine forward. So KPC says, if you want to know more about what it is they do, how you can become part of that ecosystem, you go to www.kpc.co.ke, because their slogan is Kenya Pipeline, Bomba Letu, Ukwaji Wetu.
Kabisa. And even as we get into that this morning, our conversations shift a little bit, but we're staying within kind of, the same area, whereby literally in the area, the Member of Parliament for Kipipiri constituency is Wajiko Mohia, and she's here with us this morning. Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
It's your first time in the hot seat of the Situation Room?
Yes.
Magic.
But I do follow you.
Oh, fantastic.
I do watch you, and I think you are doing good job.
Thank you.
You're normally very detailed and precisely corresponding to the nation day-to-day activities in matters of politics, economics. Generally, I think you are in line with the current situation, as per your name, situation.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for coming, and then also honoring our invitation to have this conversation today. Your name came up several times last week and the week before, and in terms of what you did, so you're going to give us a little bit of that leakage this morning. But before we do that, you may know that Dennis goes around the African continent every week, comes back from a particular country with their proverbs. We'd love to hear from you today.
Today we are in a country that if you call it vanilla land, you would not be wrong. Why? Because they are the biggest manufacturers and exporters of vanilla. Also, when you talk about the animals, so that with their wildlife, 90% of the animals can only be found in that country. There is one called King Julian. So for you to see the actual King Julian, not the movie type, you just go to Madagascar. Today we're in Madagascar. The people of Madagascar are called the Malagasy. But let's go to the proverb. Do not laugh at the fallen. You may find slippery roads ahead. Do not laugh at the fallen. You may find slippery roads ahead. How would you interpret it?
Precisely so. I think because I'm a politician, I would like to refer it to the current political situation. In the recent time, particularly during Bere North by-election, the UDA team was laughing and thinking they are very strong, and they have found not only a slippery road but very slippery, and they're down.
Well, just brought it back home. Asante sana. Let's see how we continue the conversation.
Indeed. And even as we do, this is, again, I mentioned that your name came up quite a number of times. And even as we look at this conversation where we're saying, okay, so how exactly did this happen? There were 9 contenders for this by-election, for this parliamentary seat. It would appear as though 2 of them were at the front run, at the front line. And we can say this from what we saw, but we can also say this from the results that IEBC then gave at the end of the day. So then with that, do we ask the question of whether DCP won this or whether UDA lost this, or are both happening in that same space?
Allow me first to take this chance and say a big thank you to the people of Orkalau for having conducted the election very peacefully, in spite of many things that we'll be discussing in this show, and them being able to not only vote but also to guard their votes, and also showing the determination and the resilience that has not been seen in this country in the recent past, say maybe in 1995, back in the same constituency, which was Kipipiri then. And having said that, I wouldn't say there were 2 contestants. I would say it was a one aspirant affair, because honestly speaking, if the votes casted were that 5,000 and the UDA candidate got 5,000, that is 6 times. He was beaten 6 times. And I think by mere luck, or people in Orkalau cried, they thought, okay, this is our son, this is our neighbor. He worked for us with the Mheshimiwa for 13 years, and they thought the 5,000 was worth, which to me was surprising. I expected maybe 3,000 or less, because looking back at their nomination, the guy had scored 1,116. The UD only did some mathematics here and there and declared him to have gotten 3,000 votes. So I think we may not say a 2-horse race. We may say a 1-horse and maybe a baby horse, if for that matter there is. But generally, we could say DCP had that big victory.
I mean, when you look at because election is a process, and the process of elections then starts from the nomination period all the way to the campaign period, to when then Kenyans go to cast their vote. And with that, then one asks the question, with what it is we saw, was the election free, fair, verifiable, as expected, because it is a process?
As you said, it's a process. Of course, the previous judge, or the retired judge, Honorable Maraga, did say it's a process. So if at one point there are malpractice, then it can be faulted. But in this case of Orkalau, the election was free, was fair, was verifiable in the room. But outside the room, it was chaos, because it is in public domain. You saw the goons come. First, each polling station is normally given like 2 policemen, depending on the size, or 3 or 4. And these policemen were at work from 5 as it was expected. But later in the day, goons were coming in numbers of 5, 10, harassing people, shooting. So for this particular part of what was happening outside, I would say it wasn't okay. But inside the room, it was okay.
Let's look at the area where Orkalau is. Kipipiri, your constituency, or rather the constituents that you represent. Looking on the other side, I mean, Kipipiri borders Orkalau.
Yes.
Gilgil also, not too far away. Also, then looking at Kinangop. In that area, those 4.
It also borders Daragwa
on the other side, right? All within Nyandarua County. The issues that people face in terms of development seem to be, similar across board, whereby development is still an issue. However, it would appear, especially coming from your county, Kipipiri, that people make decisions with a mindset of how they want a change. Has that always been the case? And do we see that playing out? Or this is just a recent phenomenon?
I think this is a county that have had its fair share of marginalization. And somehow people have lived with these marginalizations. The government come in, the government come out, and they remain the same. And considering the larger population outside Nyandarua County, let's say the whole country, the whole population is suffering in terms of healthcare, in terms of unemployment, in terms of education. If you go to our schools, the capitation is not coming. The university students are suffering day in, day out. On the other side, the government is busy doing the affordable housing, while the same affordable housing could even have been built near the universities to support the students in matters of shelter, instead of the students struggling from their pocket and even hiring apartments which they cannot even afford. And so generally the whole population in the country is very, very annoyed with this regime. And even you could hear people calling from as far as Mombasa, even outside the country, even in USA, UK, even Uganda, within East Africa, and urging the people of Orkarau to showcase that come 2027, this government can lose an election. So generally, in terms of development, yes, Nyandarua has remained behind, particularly in road infrastructure. And that's why you saw the government work 24 hours trying to make roads from here to there. Yet I'm in parliament, I had not seen that budget. So where did the budget come overnight to bring the 5 million boats? Where did the budget come from to bring the 20,000 gas cylinders? Where did the budget come from to bring the mattresses, the blanket, the shoes, and all that kind of manner? So in summary, the people of Orkarau felt like the government is abusing our intelligence.
And did this come from the people?
It came
from the people. Or was it a political vendetta by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to pull people from the mountain, essentially, and say, fight for me on this? Or was it really the years and years of neglect that people said, now we have an opportunity to speak about something and we're not going to let it go? Which one was it?
My dear, is a bigger scenario than the way you can see. If we would put it from the country point of view, the whole country is annoyed with this regime for economic sabotage by the government itself and all manner of the suffering that the Kenyans are facing today. And so the whole country was also urging the people of Orkarau, come to Orkarau, because the Orkarau is not a separate population from the population in Nairobi. They have cousins, they have relatives in Gekomba, in Githurai, and all other places where the government has been demolishing. Remember, this is a local or a rural population which their sons and daughters are in Nairobi, Nakuru, all over, and they are not able even to send a shilling back home to buy their parents' medicine or pay their school fees, unlike maybe some few years before. So the current situation in the country is the same, and Orkarau cannot be unique. So whatever the population in Mombasa is feeling, Nairobi, Kitui, or elsewhere, is the same feeling of Orkarau people. And so the people of Orkarau are determined to say to this government, we cannot add you one more soldier to continue adding taxes, one more soldier to continue not opposing the Ebola center in Laikipia, yet Laikipia is a neighboring county, and even the Minister for Health has gone ahead and said even the places that have NYS centers, there will also be built such quarantine facilities. In Tumaini, just right 5 kilometers from Orkarau town, we have an NYS Ebola center. So that means if we elect a government UDA MP, it's to add voice to allow a quarantine Ebola center to come to Orkarau. That said and done, the Gen Z revolution, so to speak, has continued to speak louder, even if it is not happening physically. That talk have continued because people lost their sons and daughters. Nothing has ever happened, as if that is not enough, because everything has a turning point. The government has never gone to that turning point and acted differently. Instead, the government has continued to kill, to fight, to criminalize people. You go to the church, people are attacked. You go to mainly, particularly the churches, you are attacked. So you find the population from the church is annoyed with this government. Literally, the anger in Orkalau is similar to what is in the country. But that said and done, we also have our sons and daughters. We have Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, our retired president, whom we honor. Though we differed in 2022, the government insiders, the Sudis, the Murkomens, I am sure they're in public domain. They wake up every day saying, Uhuru this, Uhuru that, Uhuru this, Uhuru that. Having elected this government with nearly 47%, they impeached the deputy president, and as if that is not enough, they have woken up every day saying, this man is tribal. So the people said, okay, he's ours and we are tribal. Let's show you that we are tribal.
That's the decision that they took.
They are among the many reasons. They are among the many. First, why is the government bringing 100 developments 2 to 3 weeks during election time? Why is the government abusing our sons? It's also, politically speaking, a right for the people of the mountain to feel that these are our sons, they are leaders in this part of our country, and they also deserve respect. 3, why is the government sabotaging its own economy? If it is the issue of Gunism, I think this is the first president who is bringing a very bad culture that will put this country to the Somalis, to the Congos, and the countries that have been in war forever, and they have never recovered. I have just found you speak of East Africa. Remember, I served in Yala for the last, the 12th Parliament, the 4th Yala in East Africa. We have seen these nations, Congo, DRC Congo, Somali, South Sudan, who are now partner states of East Africa, suffer and unable to return to normalcy, courtesy of political miscalculation from their leadership. And that is where William Ruto is taking this country today. Because if the government cannot protect its people, then the people have no other option than to protect themselves. For instance, the goons in Orkalau were coming, the videos were there, the media people were there, everyone was showing that these are the goons, the police were there. The police looked helpless because these are the police from the mainstream. Then there are other police with the guns who are even shooting like movies on top of the vehicles, and the police were helpless. So what did Orkalau people do? They decided, because the election was done by midday, and we had already taken the images from the Kim's kit, and we had seen the percentage, and no other person was coming to vote. We were only waiting to close at 5 as per the law. So we decided to call all the polling centers to close at 3. They barricade the road. They surround the polling center with the stones, with the trees, and at exactly 5 they buy padlocks. They lock the rooms so that they count the votes inside while they are locked. Why were Wananchi doing this? Yet there is enough budget for IBC, yet IBC were allocated policemen and women to guard the voters and the IBC officials. This took the Wananchi to secure themselves. So if we go that direction, we will soon be in Haiti.
Mheshimiwa, I want to ask the question, with the decisions then that the people of Orkalau took to secure the vote, opening padlocks, barricading the roads, and being there to protect essentially the vote, what does that communicate to the trust that Kenyans across the country have towards IEBC's regards to deliver an election? What does that say about IEBC's performance in delivering an election?
From where I sit, the Kenyans will also have very little trust with IEBC. However, each case has to be defined as per situation. Just like I said, the election was free and fair, verifiable inside the room, but the surrounding environment was toxic. I would also say the managers of IBC, these are the young men and women who help the management of the process, the POs, the managers of IBC may not be infiltrated by the government, by the commissioners themselves.
Are you saying that in Olkalau there was fear that the election process would be interfered with by external parties? The reason why you moved, individuals moved to lock rooms and ensure that everything that is inside remains inside, nothing else comes from outside?
Of course, that was the plan. And we knew these plans from around 11 because they had targeted the big 10 polling stations, particularly the AC primary, which is in Olkalau town. It was attacked. We had groups WhatsApp because we had assigned ourselves to certain polling stations, and we could see Mobi primary has been attacked, Munyaki primary has been attacked. We could see people in the farm hiding and all that. We could see AC primary has been attacked. So we knew they were coming. Even where I was at Mirangini sub-county, a school is very near where I was operating from, called Nduh. We could see, I'm sure you also saw the police shooting and all that kind of manner, taking our observers in spite of the observer having the LSK badges. So we knew that this was a plan, that at 5 they would come, they bring fear, they shoot, they come with the ballot, stuffed and marked papers. They take away the ones that people had voted, they leave the ones they have brought, and they somehow try to force the situation. But I could say that that was a very, very, I would just laugh at that kind of theory. I think that is a theory from someone like Oscar Sudi, because clearly it can't happen. You have 9 candidates, so you have 9 agents in the room. You have a PO from IBC, you have observers from LSK, human rights and all that. The minimum you have number of people there is 15 to 20 people. So how can you think that 20 people, you just close their eyes, you come and bring your ballot box, put it inside, remove another one? It's so theoretical. It's just like a movie. I think it's not practical.
Let's take a break in a short while. But a question before we do that. And so with all of this, I mean, the political intrigues around all of this, but has the voice of the people of Olkalau, the voices of the people of Nyandara County, whereas, according to you, have for the longest time been marginalized, the poverty index is still very, very high, and that it's underdeveloped. There were questions about then who does that, and that's the member of parliament. How far have those discussions ever gone, and what have you been told? Because you sit in parliament, you legislate, you approve budgets. Who then says this is what we need, and who answers you, if anyone?
I proceed?
Yes, please.
Oh, I thought you said it
after.
Okay, very well. In fact, when you are campaigning, you saw several MPs come to Olkalau to campaign for UDA candidate, and I think I was the only one with the senator, my Senator Medho. Of course, others who are aligned to Wamunyoro movement joined us maybe during the weekend and at the tail end, but daily or day-to-day activities were free under our control. I think Kipipiri has done very well, and this was one of the areas where you were able to beat the UDA campaign, because we could use Kipipiri as a scenario to compare, and we could ask the people for Olkalau, do you want an MP who is guided by MPs whose school fees is 10,000-15,000? Or an MP where school fees is 500 shillings. For instance, in Kipipiri, our school fees is 500 shillings. And we have been feeding our children from morning, that is 10 o'clock uji, and lunchtime, while all these other MPs who have been coming there are not doing the same. So I sit in parliament here. Yes, we do approve budget, yes, but you remember this parliament is captured. And you know, we are normally 10 or 12 MPs who are currently in opposition, who can do very little, but to have a voice is also very critical. So even for Kalau to vote for an MP who will have a voice for them is also very critical. Because even if you are 10 today and you're 11 tomorrow, you are 12 the other day, you continue increasing the voice. For instance, we condemned Ebola center in Laikipia. Even if it will happen, but our voice will remain there in record that we had opposed this. So for all Kalau people to get someone who can have a voice for them, I think that is already a plus. In Kipipiri, we have been doing very well. In fact, I think just a few months I was awarded among the most performing member of parliament in terms of education, infrastructure. Our schools are like academies. If you go to Kipipiri, you'll not differentiate if a primary school is Westland Primary or Wajoi Primary or Mara Primary. I know many people have been covering Didi Nyoro, but we have also used his programs. We did copy-paste, exchanged programs, and we've been doing similarly the same. So fundamentally, our Kalau people need someone who can also have a voice for them. And not just a voice to say yes, sir, but a voice that will speak what the people for Kalau want.
We're going to take a break. Wanjiko Mohia is the Member of Parliament for Kipipiri constituency, is here with us this morning, and we're looking at what it took to win this election. And we're going to take a break and come back and see then what it's going to take to maybe win the next. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
The chill continues on Monday morning, 17 degrees in Nairobi. We'll see a high of 25 and a low of 13. It is 19 and mostly sunny in Nakuru, and 17 and mostly sunny in Njeri. Eldoret this morning at 17 is partly cloudy, and 21 in a sunny Kisumu. 21 and sunny looking into Kakamega, while at 25 Mombasa is sunny. It's 26 and mostly sunny looking into Malindi. 19 and sunny conditions in Marsabit, while at Kampala at 19 is sunny. It's 23 and sunny into Dar es Salaam. 8 degrees, though sunny in Johannesburg, and Lagos is mostly cloudy at 26 with 13 and sunny conditions in London. It's mostly cloudy at 30 in Beijing, and Sunday night still reads clear at 20 in New York.
Chilled Spice.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, so what are we looking at? That traffic still continues in the city this morning, coming into Monday. The Thika Superhighway doesn't give too much of that today, so that's a good thing. We have a little bit of traffic still left as you come onto the Pangani underpass. Most people are getting into the city this morning without too much of an issue. Uhuru Highway has some traffic as you cross over Haile Selassie, getting in through University Way. And the traffic that is or was right around Cabanas is diminishing, so we shouldn't have too much of a sticky situation. We're going to keep an eye on all of this still. SpiceFM, EONX, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
As we continue our conversation this morning, Wanjiko Mohia is here with us this morning, the Member of Parliament, representing the people of Kipipiri constituency in Nyandarua County. Now, everybody said before this election, this by-election, interestingly enough, that this person who comes into position is only going to be there for give or take a year, right? But that it speaks beyond this 1 year, that Nkoda will be a Member of Parliament. But that it is giving a deeper message about then what's going to happen in 2027. So the by-election was said to be a litmus test as per where the mountain sits, and if this area, which has long time been a voice in terms of mountain politics, is speaking, then that could be the same speech that will then be replicated in 2027. Is that the case?
First, let me say that NGCDF money is budgeted annually, and we are currently doing the public participation. So he'll pick from where Mheshimiwa left, and he'll also be handling this financial year. So he'll be able to do 1 or 2, 3 things. And I think the people for Okara, we also expect such because of the time. But I think this election was beyond the mountain. Looking at how the messages were coming, how people are putting pressure beyond, outside the mountain. It was not only a mountain contest. This was a contest between the current regime and the 2027. And why I say that is because I told you in the beginning, there is a general anger with the whole population because of the obvious things. And now I think even the anger is increasing day in, day out. And very fundamental issues that have been made people very angry, like maybe health care and such, are now coming to take the second or the third number in terms of levels. I think this issue of goonism is really tricky for this government. And if it will not be able to contain or control it, I think this government may lose the 2027 in a historic way. You cannot have a country which have been safe, which have been peaceful, which has been the hub of peace within the region, which has been used as a benchmark, which is hosting many institutions which are international, including the UN, name them. And then one day you wake up and you think, I have to fight with guns and goons to maintain power. So this is a clear indication that 2027 politics have begun, and there are several lessons for Kenyans to learn in Olkalau. And the main fundamental lesson is that it is now crystal clear that the government is normally overrated. The way people think that you cannot fight the system, the government, it is purely overrated. Because the government is me and you. So it will only matter if the side of government have Sudi and the side of opposition has Senator Medhu and Wanjiku. If the government have the people who are planning for goons, and if the other side have people who are speaking the language the public can hear. So 2027 have begun. This is one election that is shaping the 2027, and it all backs back to history. When we had a by-election in Kagema, the TNA won that seat, and the TNA came to rule this country. When we had a by-election in Kiamba and in Olkalau, for this matter, which is also very symbolic, in Rurie Ward, the UDA won, and the UDA came to be the government of the day. So similarly, this by-election, going by history, is obviously informing us on 2027. But most importantly is to tell Kenyans they should no longer fear the government. They should be able to vote and Linda Kurayao.
I mean, when you look at elections, each and every single person must play by the rules, especially the electoral code. And there's a lot of issues that were raised, including statements that you made during the campaigns that saw IEBC make a declaration and fine you 1.5 million shillings. And whilst we say election, there is the political aspect of it, but it is backed by the law because it is a legal process that then gives one the right to be donated to power and lead the people. What was that about? What exactly happened that you found yourself at the receiving end of IEBC being fined 1.5 million shillings? What was that about?
That's why I say the IEBC is very biased, because the bribery is happening on open pages. We can see the ministers bribing people through these, they say, the developments which are delivered in Olkalau during this particular time. But when I speak for 6 minutes, the IBC will take the 30 seconds statement, which is clearly sideshows. The main content of my statement was that outsiders should not come and vote in Olkalau, because that was said by Moses Kuria. In fact, he said on 16th, I will come here in Olkalau with 200 people. That one, the IBC doesn't hear, but they hear me say, don't come to vote in Olkalau. But since that matter is in court, I wouldn't want to highlight it. But there is something to learn about that. When I was fined 1.5 million, what did the people of Olkalau say? What Wanjiko said is what we mean. We don't want outsiders to come and vote here. And she is speaking on our behalf. For that matter, she will not pay 1.5, give us a pay bill number, and we shall contribute. And indeed, they contributed the money. In fact, some of the money that we used to pay the agents was the money that was contributed so that I could pay the IBC. But when we went to the court postponed that until I behead, because of course you can see the bias. The IBC could not even listen to me. They could not even listen to my lawyers. They were so much determined, so much in a hurry, because they just wanted to remove me out of Olkalau. They knew we are two, and they knew I was in charge of several operations, and my absence in Olkalau was obviously a point they were relying on. You can see what they are relying on is purely theory. They are thinking that if Wanjiko is not in Olkalau, they may win this election, which is far from truth. The people are already determined. But basically, I would say IBC is very, very biased. They shouldn't be, because the word independent means they should be independent. They were acting on behalf of someone, and that is why they were so much in a hurry, so agitated. They couldn't listen to me. They couldn't even offer me a chance. And even before they came to find me, I was first put through the DCI. Then the DCI could say, oh, no charges. In the whole county, in my book, there are no charges against you. The NCIC, the NCIC say we have analyzed the video. It is not having any issue. Then the IBC, we go and face them and ask, do you have any case against me? They say no. In fact, we are happy about the way you are conducting politics. Then 45 minutes after, the IBC issue new summons. So clearly you could see it's just a manipulation, politically castigated. But since the matter is in court, I may not want to endeavor so much about it, but nothing could stop the resilience and the vote of the people of Olkalau. A good lesson to the Kenyans that a people determined can remove a government which is oppressing them.
Beyond the election, there is the delivery, because every other member of parliament or anyone who's seeking for elected position comes with promises and deliverables that they tell the people to convince them to give them the vote. Now, even as we speak today, the citizens, even your constituents, will ask the question, based off what you promised vis-a-vis the delivery, is where matters the most. Now we have Samuel is going to be sworn in as the Member of Parliament for Olkalau. There are promises he made. How do we ensure that as members of Parliament, where you sit in terms of representation, oversight, the three roles that you have, that these things are being seen to work, that Mwananchi does not only become important during elections, but that it's carried forward beyond the election day?
That the people have shown. The people of Olkalau have shown, because the voter today is so wise, is wiser than even the voter of 2022. And they have shown that it is not about the money, it is not about the promise. If you promise, you deliver. If you don't deliver, they will deal with you. It's as simple as that. And if you look at the recent past, you see several politicians even sent out of the funerals. People don't want to listen to them. For instance, one of our area MCA in Olkalau, in Rorie Ward, where one of the gentlemen was killed. Remember, we lost 2 young men whose mistake was only to go and vote. Then they found the goons. They didn't know they were goons, because one was a truck driver and he had left his truck at Gilgil. He ran to vote. In fact, he paid someone on the queue to let him jump the queue so that he vote and go pick his truck and move on to Arusha. I think he was coming from Marava. And then at the gate, he fight the goons and he died like that. So the Wananchi will be dealing with people. It is not going to be a matter of how much I speak, how much money I give, how much I lie, how much I promise. The deliverable must be seen, the development must be tangible, and it will no longer be politicized. This MC I tell you about was already overheard and recorded, him organizing 50 men who would be paid during the election day. And that clip was kept, circulated in Olkalau. Then one man dies, then he drive to the family to bring Pole. I'm telling you, he couldn't even drive near the gate. He was told by the locals, not even the family of the bereaved, he was told by the locals, just turn your car. We are not fighting you. We are not touching your car, but just go back. We don't want to see you here. Yes, you are our area MCA. You have come to say Pole because someone has died, but he has died in the hands of government. We know each other. No one killed each other. We were going 10 by 10, a group of 10, as we had given that in my clip, that design, because when you go 10 first, it's not easy to attack you. Second, it's easy to know a stranger. And this MCA was told, just go back. We cannot even receive your Pole. Just drive back. We don't want to see you. So I think it's no longer going to be the same way. Yeah.
What is driving this? Is it because Kenyans are tired? And Kenyans are saying, well, don't continue treating us this way. And if that's what's driving it, is it going to be driven into 2027 where the nation then has to decide? So what is making people react in this way? Have they gotten to the point whereby they say enough is enough? And is there the same energy that's going to push people into 2027 from what you can see?
I think just as Mau Mau time when the British colony was ruling this country, of course, they ruled for some time, and Mau Mau uprising moved from one level to another until they reached a point where they said, no, we need our land, and the white men have to leave our country. So the same government came in with many promises, which were, I think, politically informed, because some of the promises which were given have even never happened. The government continued even to promise others which were merely rhetoric, because how does a president say we'll be making 1 million chapatis per day, honestly? And I think the Wananchi kept on feeling that these people are abusing our intelligence and we feel like we are wiser. So the people have continued to be agitated day in, day out, not forgetting the suffering because of the economic status in the country. So this is someone who is very angry, but at the same time, very informed. Also remember, we are in the era of digital information. So information sharing is moving like a bushfire. Within a minute, a school could be attacked in Olkalau, and in seconds, we could be informed from the other side of Olkalau, let's say in Merangini. So the people are very, very much informed, number one. Number two, the voters are very wise today. Like this issue of saying that we will remain in the government side, because if you support the president, you'll have maendeleo. I really feel irritated about that statement. In fact, there is a time, if you saw, I went viral when I told one of my colleagues, do not be telling people we'll be milking the one in the milk parlor. Because clearly, these are your taxes. If you have put a budget for Road A, whether you support the president, whether you don't support him, it must happen. For MPs, then GCDF is given to all MPs from Mombasa to Kisumu. It doesn't matter if you support the government or otherwise. So it is upon me as a member. It shouldn't. It's upon me as a member of parliament to do public participation and give priority what the public want. So first, there is nothing irritating to Kenyans than this statement that you stay by the government so that you get development.
Mheshimiwa, in your opinion, where do you think that the government that was elected by a majority of Kenyans lost Kenyans? At what point did Kenyans say enough is enough, we're done? At what point did the government lose the people that voted for him. And what would be the reasons as to why Kenyans now are saying, we need to look the other way around? Why would the people of Olkalau say, we are out?
In my view, I would say this government had no good intention. And I think the promises were intentional just to garner the votes for 2022. And possibly the current president mistook the capacity of Kenyans. Maybe he thought the Kenyans that were there many years back are still the same population. I do not see any good intention, because even as a member for Kipipiri, if elections were to be called today, there are several things that I can show that I have connected 30,000 people with electricity. I can show 15 big schools have been facelifted to academies, and maybe 40 medium schools have been facelifted to this. There is something I can show that my school fees was 15,000 Kenya shillings and today is 500 shillings. I can show that our students were not eating at school and today 7,000 students are eating at school, and I can say many things. If I look at this government, the many things we can see is the opposite and not finding a single thing. For instance, in Nyandarua, we had many roads which had started. We had one road which started in Olkalau called Captain Wanjohi Geta Donyujeru Road. It crisscrossed 3 constituencies. It was done 50%, that is 25 kilometers. The president came there immediately during the prayers, the Thanksgiving prayers that he was going round. He said this road, by October, it will be finished. And the people believed because it was already at 50%. And he said on February, I'll come and launch. That is the only time I found William Ruto speaking the truth. Because indeed, in February, he came and launched the same road, and he promised that in 10 months, the road would be finished. In fact, there was a proposal that some work can start in Kinagop and some work can start in Kipipiri. They meet at the middle, 13 kilometers for 10 months. That looked realistic. But to date, the road has only been done 4 kilometers. So 4 kilometers, 4 years means 1 kilometer per year. And now the government is telling us that Rironi Mau Summit Road will be finished by, I think, is it Madaraka Day or what, next year, and it is 170 kilometers. For this government, obviously, it will need 170 years if we go by Kipipiri, Kinagop Road. So clearly, what is tangible that this government has done, that is really agitating. But there are several tangible mess that this government has done. For instance, the introduction of SHA. While SHA may have been a good option, but you can see the intention was never good. The system of SHA time and again is failing to serve the people, but when it is debiting your account, it's not failing. It's very easy for you to credit money to SHA, whether cash or by salary deduction. But when you go to the hospital, you want treatment. Sometimes you have this, while NHIF was 500 bob. And somehow it was working even for people like teachers, the police force, and such. So this government has tangible messes in numbers, including lies, including the introduction of this goonism culture, which I tell President Ruto, this is what you finish him. He must turn around and tell Murkomen no. I see Murkomen today saying that this will be investigated. Obviously, that is also laughing to the people for Karau. How can you investigate something that you saw? You saw goons, 5 goons going to Nyadudo, 4 land cruisers coming to AC Primary. Why were they not stopped? Did the government not see these goons, which me and you could see? They were even going against the media people. For heaven's sake, if today we do not have the media, what a country. Who will inform us? Because I may try to take a video, my phone may be taken away and all that, but the whole country or the whole nation is purely relying on media. They could even harm the media, take their cameras, throw them away. So if the government saw that, they saw the 5. If they could have arrested at least 1 goon, just 1, just one, and assuming the rest ran away, then at least we could even buy the lie that something will be investigated. So you need as a leader to have one tangible development or activity, but this government has 100 tangible messes which will take it home in 2027. And I urge Kenyans to see what the people of our crowd did, including women, including youths, by protecting their votes, and they protected within the law. Because the IBC normally discuss 400 meters away, so we barricaded 400 meters away, but we all agreed no one will go to the police center. We will not go.
But nobody else will go.
In fact, my own vehicle, which was supplying lunch in Miragini sub-county, and my driver for that ward was known because he moved with me the whole time. And the lady from that polling center, which they were going to supply food, could not enter. My own car was searched, a small car. They saw there were breads, there were milk, there were water. And the people said, okay, we agreed, we are not entering. The government is not entering. UDA is not entering. Wamudende was here. We have stopped you. So you will not enter. Take your breads, walk, take to your agents, come, you will not touch your vehicle. My own vehicle. That is how serious this was. And this is what the other Kenyans should do. They shouldn't fear the government. The government is purely overrated, and people can be able, so long as they work within the law, I am sure they can be able to take this government home. And it also be a good lesson that a government came, lied to the people, went back after one term. So the next president will be 100 times careful, cautious of anything he promised and anything he deliver. So it should be a lesson for future.
It should be a lesson for you. Do you expect that the development that was, just really quickly, the development that was brought into Okoh, do you think that it will continue now in the coming weeks?
It will not continue. That we even told our people. In 1995, the same government, the same style of government brought the poles for electricity, and they removed the same. In fact, history is repeating itself so symbolically. I saw one time when the DCI and all those other people were coming to look for me, and somehow I was hiding somewhere, and you could see the people of Okoh hide me. They say, Mheshimiwa, come, you sleep in my house today, and when I'm known I'm in that house, tomorrow I sleep in another house. You can see people even defending you so long as you are walking with them in their cause.
Indeed. And thank you for being here for this conversation this morning.
Thank you too.
And we look forward to more, to then be able to open up some of these things. Wanjiko Mohia is the Member of Parliament for Kipipiri constituency, has been our guest this hour, looking into some of these intrigues. More to come. Asante sana.
Thank you. It's finished.
It is.
It's short, eh?
Okay. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The Kenya Defence Forces has foiled suspected terrorist attacks in Lamu County after recovering and safely destroying 4 improvised explosive devices planted along key transport routes. KDF said the explosives were discovered during Operation Amani Boni through intelligence-led operations and routine patrols. Explosive ordnance disposal teams safely detonated the devices without casualties. The military said the recoveries highlight continued efforts to counter terrorism and secure transport corridors for both security personnel and civilians in Lamu County. Family members of 21-year-old Margaret Ombui are demanding answers after she died following a fall from the 22nd floor of Altura Apartments in Nairobi's Upper Hill on Saturday night. The family says Ombui left home for work at 7 p.m., but there is no evidence she arrived. Reports indicate she entered the apartment building at about 10 p.m. and went to the rooftop before her body was found minutes later in a nearby compound. Her bag containing her mobile phone, work uniform, and other personal belongings was recovered on the rooftop. The family has ruled out suicide and is calling for a thorough investigation to establish whether she fell accidentally or was pushed.
Akaniambia ampati na nasikia vibaya sana. Akasikia ni kama rafiki yake hayuko sawa, na akaniambia amepiga simu yake akasikia inachukuliwa na mtu ati atafute watu wao wakuje kwa DCI Kilimani.
DCI mwenye nilipata hapa akaniambia huyo mtoto waliambiwa ati alijiagusha kutoka juu ya nyumba akajiagusha chini, either ni kujiagusha ama ni kuanguka, alijirusha, lakini hakukuwa na claim scene, lakini mtoto tayari ameshachukuliwa na akapelekwa city mortuary. Tujue ama alijirusha ama alirushwa ama aliuliwa kwa nyumba ama kulifanyika nini. Tupate haki ya mtoto wetu. Kama alikuwa amekosea tujue.
Hakuna stress yoyote alikuanga nayo. Alikuwa anakujanga tu, analala, anaamka saa ya kuja kazi jioni anakuja. Kuna story alikuwa nayo.
Detectives from the DCI at Kilimani Police Station are reviewing CCTV footage as investigations continue. In other news, Foreign Affairs PS Korir Singoe has underscored the importance of investing in church infrastructure, describing the church as a key partner in promoting national unity and social development. Speaking in Kwanza, Trans Nzoia County, Singoe said the church plays a key role in empowering young people, promoting moral values, and supporting government efforts to build a peaceful and prosperous nation.
Ukiinvest kwa kanisa, kwa mambo ya kiroho, it is an eternal journey. It's a long-term agenda. And I want to challenge the church. Wakati tuna invest kwa kanisa, tafadhali, do your job also. Serve the Lord with diligence. Be a real servant. Pray. Unite. Be a force for good. The church is a force for good. Na naomba na kuwasihi kwa heshima, the church can do better to support government, to support our communities, to support our schools, to support our young people, to talk to them, to instruct them, to advise them.
Shinyalu MP Fred Ikana has called for the contractor handling the Kakamega airstrip Shinyalu Chepsonoi Kaimosi Road project to be removed, citing delays in its construction. Ikana said the government had allocated sufficient funds for the project and urged the relevant authorities to ensure the road is completed to the required standards and within the stipulated time frame.
Barabara ya kutoka pale Kakamega airstrip kuja kupita mpaka hapa Moranda, ikuje ipite mpaka Shinyalu hapo kwa soko, ipite pale Solio mpaka Secheno mpaka Rondo mpaka Ikuywa mpaka Chepsonoi. Hiyo barabara rais alituwekea pesa na ikakuwa tender, lakini kwa bahati mbaya contractor hakuwa ni mzembe. Mimi nikishirikiana na huyu waziri Oparanya pamoja na viongozi wengine ambao wako hapa, tumesukuma, tumeambia rais huyo contractor wa hiyo barabara ya Shinyalu kwenda mpaka kule Chepsonoi lazima afunge virago, aende, tulete contractor ambaye atachapia watu kazi hapa Shinyalu.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something we must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutanu, Mama Mboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutanu, Mama Mboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same National Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them they're already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock and into the final hour of the Situation Room this Monday morning, the 20th of July. And as is, we do every Monday, we're going to talk to the president this hour and tell him a couple of things. But before we do that, you want to bomba?
Yes. You see, let me bomba you proper. Now, think about the engines that drive an economy. And this is happening silently through KPC. Because KPC is just sitting somewhere silently. Fuel is passing chini yako. At times you're even walking on top of those pipes and you don't know. And it's just headed to the destination, which would be the lakeside city of Kisumu or all the way to Uganda. Why? Because silently it is powering the economy by ensuring that you're able to move from point A to point B. Manufacturing is able to be a success, you know. And they are doing that through what is now being regarded as regional integration in the phase or in the eyes of the economy. And they're equally telling you that as much as we're making the economy move, we can as well hold your hand, hold the parents of the country and ensure that they invest in their children so that they get to school, they graduate, come back and plug into the economy. So it is transporting these fuel products in a way that is secure. that is safe, that is efficient, that you can believe in, that you can trust will get to you when you need it. So when you think about what it is a KPC is doing, or you want more information on that, you go to www.kpc.co.ke, because remember, KPC now is KPC PLC, because you and I can, there are Kenyans who have stake in the same, because now it's a public limited company. So go to kpc.co.ke to get more information. But remember, Kenya Pipeline, bomba letu, ukwaji wetu.
Kabisa.
Kabisa.
And so even as we get into this conversation this morning, dear Mr. President, certain things that want to be said to you. But one of them is about this Ebola quarantine facility. Now, from what we understand so far, that the court said Ebola facility, no.
Nope.
But that doesn't seem to carry much water. And interestingly enough, that the CS Health was actually in court and he actually begged for forgiveness.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, it seems as though this Ebola quarantine facility is still there. So I'm very confused as to what the whole court begging thing was about and whether or not court orders still stand in this. Unless I was living under a rock for a couple of weeks and didn't really understand or was not aware that perhaps those conservatory orders were lifted and that the quarantine facility could then go ahead in terms of establishment. Did that happen?
It didn't happen.
No?
You see...
No, for real. Conservatory orders to then stop the establishment of a quarantine facility in Laikipia did not happen.
And it does. The court order hasn't been lifted; still remains.
Okay.
So that means anything that is happening in Laikipia, especially when it comes to the setting up of that facility, is illegal, because the court has said no brakes on it.
It might then interest you to know that the United States established a 50-bed bio-isolation quarantine facility in central Kenya. And we're talking about Laikipia. Under a new U.S. policy, Americans returning from the DRC must complete 21 days of quarantine in a third country before returning to the U.S. The first occupants, so not only was it established, but the people who are actually occupying this isolation space are 7 American aid workers from Samaritan's Purse who had been helping with the Ebola response in the DRC. They are not sick and are being monitored as a precaution during Ebola's incubation period. Sawa?
Yeah.
All right. So the quarantine facility exists. Under the new American law, you must then, as an American coming back to the US, having been in contact or in the Ebola working space, must then quarantine for 21 days to ensure that you don't have the thing. If you do, then they take measures from there. Of what is concern to Kenyans, the facility has generated significant public debate because many Kenyans fear it could increase the country's risk of Ebola.
Yeah.
Civil society groups and residents have challenged the project in court. Reports indicate a court-ordered construction halted, although the project has remained contentious. Now, the court order halted the establishment of this quarantine facility, but the 7 American, not patients, but, subjects of interest, they're being housed at a 50-bed bio-isolation facility. So which one is it? And these are the questions that people are concerned about.
My greatest concern is this country is ruled by the rule of law, right? It's run by the rule of law. It is what determines what you do today, what you do tomorrow, right? Or rather, it's sad that it now borders a should, But the thing is, the country is run by the rule of law. But when you look at the setting up of this quarantine facility where Kenyans have had concerns, why? Exactly because public participation didn't take place. Kenyans were not involved in that process, which is a requirement, which is a legal requirement by the law. And even Kenyans themselves have said, based off what we want as a country, what we want as a people, we don't want this facility here because it is a danger to our livelihoods. But you see, someone decides to proceed with that against the requirement of the Constitution, but someone goes to court, petitions the court, and the court says, no, don't do that. Cabinet secretary invited, court orders are not respected. The gentleman comes forth and begs for forgiveness. Please, tafadhali nisame for today. I will not repeat again, Your Honor. Your Honor says what sawa na usitubie. Hiyo itakuwa funzo kwa wengine wenye tabia kama ya. But what are we being told today? That facility that the court said no to has been set up because there are individuals who are being housed there in this quarantine facility in this very location that the court said no. And we are here asking the question, who is playing ping pong? At what point will we respect the law? At what point will we respect Kenyans and the decisions they want for themselves?
So that actually takes us into our question for today, is that, are you tired? The headline on the Standard today is linking this possible exhaustion to politics. Things fall apart is the headline on the Standard, in case you missed that earlier. And that, referencing another Chinua Achebe novel, the No Longer at Ease, Kenyans are, another literacy work. Kenyans are tired of being remembered only when elections loom, tired of watching hundreds of millions poured into one constituency while others are neglected, tired of leaders who treat public resources as campaign tools. All Kalau may have marked a turning point in Trans Nzoia. Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya and Senator Alan Chesang were booed and chased away as residents rejected token handouts and demanded fairness. The message was unmistakable. Keep the goodies. We want dignity, equity, and leaders who serve us every day. We can tie the strings through all of this, because tell me why there's a bio-isolation facility in the first place. Are Kenyans actually tired? Because guess what? It's not the first time. Oh, by the way, tomorrow is the 21st of July. It is Tuesday. It's the day that the High Court has demanded that the IG of Police, Douglas Kanja, and the DCI boss, Mohammed Amin, present themselves in court to answer a habeas corpus case as to where three gentlemen are. Your guess is as good as mine as to whether they're going to show up in court tomorrow. But this weaves a similar thread through what we're talking about today. No quarantine facility, but there is one.
There is one.
No, goons and making sure that your security is answered, but they continue to happen under the cover of daylight. So the question is, are you really tired? Dear Mr. President, are people, they will be the ones to tell you today if you are actually tired. We'd like to hear from you this morning, and you'll talk to us on 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. We want to hear from you today and let us know what the deal is. Are you tired, or is this just we're going to take it all in stride? And we already start the calls because they're coming in fast. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Nduh and Dennis.
How are you,
morning,
sir?
How are you?
I'm doing well from Bondo. I'm Onyango.
Onyango from Bondo, talk to us. Are you tired or you're okay?
No, I cannot be okay.
Why?
I'm a citizen of this country. I'm a law-abiding citizen of this country. And I'm law-abiding because whatever the court pronounces, I follow to the letter. Now, if the government doesn't follow what the law, the court says, then we must be worried as a citizen of this country, because the government is trying to create anarchy in the country. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Onyango.
I watched with a lot of disbelief when there was an election in Olekalau. But first of all, allow me to congratulate the people from Olekalau, Dawida Sami, and the mate who was behind Sami, and the DCP leader Rigadi, or the bold step that people of Malawi actually took against the government to take whatever goodies they brought, but actually decided to put the right person to lead them as their MP. Yeah, so that one aside, the government is doing a very big disservice to us. The government should actually know that there are people they are ruling, but they should not actually tell us lies every now and again. Now, let me tell you about Murkomen.
Okay.
This man has actually been playing politics, and not only politics, but he takes people for granted.
How
we
so?
Were in Kisumu. Yeah, we were in Kisumu when the goons went to the church we were promised a lot of things and nothing has happened. Yeah, and I want to congratulate that Bishop called Onginjo. He's a bold man.
Okay.
He has told the government always the truth. It's like the late Okulu, anyway, who used to tell the government the truth, and people like Mungai who told the government the truth. Most of the religious leaders today sit on the fence and they think that they are helping people, but they are not. So what I would say about Murkomen is actually taking this country to the dogs. He's telling us that the people who are there in the big in big vehicles like Prado, chasing people and firing in the air and putting tear gas among the people who are actually peaceful voters, and is now telling us that the DCI is going to investigate. What are they going to investigate anyway? Nothing is there to be investigated. Why did they stop those people and arrest them? Then we know that those were the government goons. Those are rogue policemen like DCP leader had actually put it. I normally like regarding Anchadwa for one reason. He's a very truthful man.
He says that too.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true of him. Now tell me this, madam. When your people are being slaughtered, would you keep quiet?
No.
When you are people that you are leading, or even if you are not leading them and you see them being slaughtered, I watched with a lot of displeasure, a lot of interest and concern when I saw some women complaining that where they were in the garden, they saw so many people who are hooded men, and these people harassed them, took their telephones, did everything to them, and then later I saw a certain mechanic, Kweli, who was actually arrested, beaten, for having done nothing. But what is actually very painful to me is that two young men lost their lives in that country and in that constituency. And all we hear from people like Command is that we are going to investigate. What are they going to investigate when they left those people to go free, scot-free? The other day they told us when Ososo was attacked in Kisumu that some of the attackers had moved to Uganda. How did he come to know that those people were moving to Uganda if they were not the one escorting them to Uganda?
Indeed.
And up to now, we see some of them just in Kisumu here, who attacked Ososo. How do people feel about that? They are just roaming about in Kisumu. I think this is not acceptable. This is really not acceptable. And I saw a certain cabinet secretary from Nyanza going all the way to Samburu to talk about that wrestling. Where he comes from, where there is a lot of insecurity. What is that? What is that? You see, has he now become cabinet secretary for interior, to go to all Samburu to talk about cat wrestling, when you know very well that his work is to do something to do with the budget, which is actually very bad because the life has become too difficult for us. I think this government, what they should actually do in the ballot next year, just the way they are now started chasing these people who carry a lot of money in sacks like Oparanya they did to him in Trans Nzoia. They should reject them, and then when we go to the ballot, let us get the right government to lead us so that we can live in peace and we can enjoy what the God has given us in this country.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on Nyango. Asante Sana, and keep plugged in. We talk about these things and hopefully dismantle some of these structures that keep us back. Thank you very much, Asante.
Stay bold, the way you are.
Asante. We continue taking your calls this morning, 0732 142 650, 0732 142 653. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, this is Sami Serem from Magarini.
Yes, Sami from Magarini. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Well, okay.
Yes, what I want to say is actually what we are experiencing right now is not actually any different from what we have been experiencing all the other way around. I mean, what we are saying about the court orders, the people ignoring, this is not the first time we're experiencing. Since Uhuru's, since Moi's and all that. But I think one thing we should always bear in mind is that no one actually follows the law in this country. And simply because those who are supposed to enforce the law are also biased. How can goons go and attack people in a church? And how can people also go and organize such events without notifying the authority? That's why you see, whenever they make they gather people in a church, they are being attacked because they are not actually complying with the rules or regulations. That whenever you want to have a function in a church, you should not notify the police so that you can be actually supplied or enforcement deployed. But you see, when we're having rallies, campaign rallies, we don't see these goons. Why? Because the police are all along with them. And why are these people? Why are these people being attacked in church? Where are their bodyguards? Where are their security? Their detailed security? Because they simply ignore them and they say, "Let us go on our own." And also, no any constable would actually go and engage in an event that is likely to bring a danger to their own lives. So I think we should also be realistic. Whenever we blame the current government, let us also reflect the former government, how they have been conducting their services, or how they have been conducting the rule of law and all that. Because we all know that there's no any president will come into this country and do perfect the way people think. We're comparing the current government and the past government. This government has done some more significant development. You see, we have the Rironi. You see, we have the teachers, 120,000 teachers. You see, we have the Salanda Stadium. You see, we have the state houses being renovated. Where were all the money going? Where was Uhuru? We say Uhuru was not actually not what and all that. But we ask it, where were our money going?
Yeah.
Because we can see now the value of the money. The state houses, Talanta, Bomas, and those. There are several things with that we can actually be proud of. This within this only 3 years. But the rest, Uhuru was there for 10 years. What this guy has achieved within 3 years is not actually Uhuru could not achieve within 10 years. So let us be realistic. I know I love Sifuna. I know Sifuna is actually on toes and all that, but is he likely to win the He's just famous, not influential. You know, there's the difference, being famous and being influential. So let us anyway watch and see what comes 2027.
Sami from Magarini, thank you for your call this morning. And of course, we're taking more of those as we hear from you. Getting from what people are saying is that folks are getting to the point where they are tired. People are exhausted and saying, come on. It's a court order today. It's a no to an isolation facility. It's a no to the goonism. It's a no to the lack of security. It's a no to the public resources not going to where they're meant to go. Things are falling apart and folks are no longer at ease. Or is it just me saying? We'll take one more call before we go to the break and then we'll continue. Daniel is calling this morning from Kajiado. Daniel, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nduh and Dennis.
Morning, how are you?
I'm well. First of all, you guys are doing a great job, and thank you for engaging the citizen so that we get to discuss what is happening to our country.
Asante sana, sir.
Karibu.
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to make it a debate, but the previous caller who is saying Uhuru did this, didn't do this, we are living the current situation right now. Even if Uhuru's economy was bad, he didn't just stamp to tell us he doesn't care about our situation. He was a bit soft to the people, saying, I'm trying my level best. We were suffering from the Kibaki regime. Things were a bit better economically. When Uhuru and Ruto came, things started to become difficult. But the civility of Uhuru was, let me try to do what I can without stamping. Now, the current regime, who was the part and parcel of Uhuru Kenyatta's government, the guy is just stamping court orders. He doesn't care about them. And who on earth, as a parent, says you can go shoot people? You can't do that. You come down from your high horse, lead as a leader because you are the father of a nation. You can't go to your own house because your kids want food. You become angry at them. Where will they get the food from? We, the people, we are suffering economically. Who do we turn to if the person leading us doesn't care about our situation? You can't feed people morsels because of a by-election. That one is not helping the community. If you want to help the community of any region in Kenya, do industrialization whereby everybody can benefit. But if you give me a gas cooker today and my neighbor didn't receive because it doesn't support your party, how is it helping the community?
Indeed.
You put lower the gas price for everybody. Say 6 kg, we'll do it at the 500 I had promised some years back.
Yeah.
That way, everybody gets to benefit. We don't want selective development. We want communal, regional, everybody to benefit. If he can only do one thing, as much as people don't like him and others love him, he can only do one thing for the people. Put industries whereby let the youth, let people who are coming from universities get jobs. As in, right now, nobody has pocket change. Nobody. Even those who are working, they're overtaxed. Us business people, I'm telling you, even goat farming is so difficult, you can't even sell a goat to nobody because nobody has the money to buy.
I hear you. Yep. I hear you, Daniel, and it's coming through that the exhaustion is very, it's a thing for a lot of people. People are tired.
Yes.
Thank you for your
People
call, Daniel.
Are really tired.
Yeah.
Okay, just as we end up, we need you guys to continue doing the good job because when you guys keep quiet, then we'll be finished, all of us. The boldness that the standard media is doing, we are behind you all, we are behind you guys, and we pray God to give you the strength and the bravery to keep doing the people's work.
We can only say amen to that. Asante sana, then. Daniel, thank you for calling in this morning.
All right.
We continue taking your calls. We're going to do that after we take a short break because then we'll see what's going on with traffic and come back and continue. Also, then, Aseto will tell us what people are saying online. It's also to hear then what your thoughts are around some of these things. The question that we're asking this morning, or, you know, dear Mr. President, the people of Kenya might be tired. You're telling him why you are, if you are. Your local leadership also is involved in a lot of these things. The people that you vote for at the very lowest level and probably the most important level, do you know who those are? Because if you're tired of certain things, they're the ones who take these things. Oh, we talk about capture and not captured.
There's no capture.
Come on.
Yeah.
You have a mouth and a brain, one would hope. What are you doing with it? All right, we'll continue with this conversation. And as you talk to dear Mr. President after this, good morning at 25 to 10.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
So today has not been too crazy with traffic in most parts of the city today, and I think you're doing okay. Little bits and bobs here, but nothing too tumultuous. Except the folks on North Airport Road didn't get the memo that we're not doing traffic this morning, so we decided to all be on the road in both directions, heading in and outbound towards Cabanas or through towards Embakasi. Today, very, very busy, bumper to bumper in very many parts. But we're going to keep an eye on all of this and try to keep it moving still, okay? We'll talk through the day. SpiceFM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And we continue this morning. We're taking your calls. We're hearing from you. Dear Mr. President, are Kenyans tired? I mean, there are examples that we've given this morning, just in case you're wondering, that 7 Americans are under, watch at this facility, at this, what they're calling the bio-isolation facility in Nanyuki. Somebody may tell you it's not the same one for which conservatory orders were given. It could be another one. Potato. So you have to then ask yourself, based on things like that, the IG of police and the DCI boss have been summoned to court tomorrow over the habeas corpus case of three individuals that are still unfound. You're asking questions about the things that we saw happening in Okoh over the weekend, rather over the last week, the things that we saw in Trans-Nzoia over the last week. People are telling you, they're telling you something, but let's have you tell him directly. What are folks saying?
Osana Emily says, when a government decides to ignore pleas from its citizens, it builds and creates resentment among the electorate. A tired population is dangerous. Now, Jesse Rodriguez says, how do you not get tired if banning your work and harassment and not get benefits every time people are lying and confused? How can you do anything? Now, we have Mtuflani who says, at least one good thing about this politics is that it's tormenting us is that the lines are clearly defined. Where you choose to stand will determine your fate. Hakuna msabaha. Now, G. Kenyan says, someone confidentially called Obina, that is another comment there where someone called just saying how they are police officers and they were sent to Okoh to be goons. Eric Ward says there is no sane grown-up in this country that doesn't know that the president has a problem. Ruto is a man who ought not to be trusted at all. Now, Eric Ward, people are not tired. We are sort of ambivalent. And Dikombo says, dear president, God has rejected you. Double M says, the society is getting very tired of how government is being run. Hapa one term in Nyanza will be equally violent. The Mkabila propaganda has started backfiring very quickly. So this propaganda that anyone will be violent is backfiring because Kenyans are saying, we're peaceful. Now, here we go all the way to Smokey Msibandit, who says, Mark Bandit says, Uhuru certainly couldn't achieve what that guy's favorite has achieved. So that is on the person who was saying what Uhuru had done or not done for that matter. Anthony Simiyu, Kenyans want leadership, not cheap politics. Victoria Kasioka, where and a church telling people to go to church, and Madly African also just responding to some of the callers that we had here before. And a chicken can eat everywhere in the village, but it knows where to lay the eggs. That is according to Ephraim Katem. So that is going to be my proverb for tomorrow. And Eric Owino says, everybody supporting the government and politicians is allowed. What's happening? When Obama first visited Kenya in 1987, he said we can't be far from a revolution when noticed the many and large slums around. So that is according to G. Kenyan, and many are speaking about the same. And Eric Winolio says maybe it's the media that never showed Gen Zs, a construct created by the government to mask citizens. So what a tea. So there is that as well on where the Gen Zs are, where are they coming out to vote. Now, there is also on dear last caller who's also being talked to, Charles Ndungu. Dear Mr. President, all I have to say to you is we will meet next year, August, and kick you out of that office.
Well. Okay. So we're still hearing from you this morning as you call in, and that's just, of course, across our socials today. Dear Mr. President, Kenyans are saying they might just be tired. 07321 42650 or 07321 42653. We're taking your calls this morning, and people say, we actually are. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Salama kabisa.
Napiga simu kutoka Siaya.
Yes.
Naitwa Charles.
Charles kutoka Siaya.
Hao jina la utani ni baba yao.
Okay, sawa.
Kitu nilitaka kusema mimi kama Charles hivi. Umesema kama mtu amechoka na ile serikali ambayo unaiona. Kama mimi Charles hivi nimechoka nayo.
Kwa nini Charles?
Kitu nasikia uchungu. Kitu naona uchungu nao sana. Ni ule mtu ule kijana ambaye ni taxi driver alikuwa ameenda kupiga kura Okoh pale. Na kitoka pale kurudi anashutiwa na guni. Imagine. Na ule kijana pia anauawa bure kwa sababu alikuwa anasomba wa mama. Sasa kile nasema hivi kama mimi Sababu nimechoka na hii serikali ni kusema kwamba hivi, moja, ukiangalia mambo ya SHA iko tayari kuchukua pesa. Kama unaweka pesa kwenye account inaenda kuenda, lakini ukitaka kutumia haifanyi kazi. Unaambiwa bado network imefanya nini ABCD, lakini kama unataka kuchukua kwa simu yako kupeleka kwa account yao inaenda sambamba. Number 2, maendeleo yao tu ni kama tutafanya. Nataka kuwapatia challenge moja leo. Ukiangalia kila city kuna kuna kampi ya serikali. Ukienda Mombasa kuna jeshi. Ukienda Nakuru kuna jeshi, kambi ya wanajeshi. Ukienda Nairobi hivyo. Ukienda Eldoret iko hivyo. Swali je, Kisumu iko wapi kambi ya wanajeshi? Na kuna maji pale, na hiyo pia ni city. Hata kambi ya NYS iko kweli? Hakuna. Kisumu hakuna. Mimi natoka Kisumu. Mimi ni mtu wa Siaya. Kambi ya wanajeshi iko wapi? Kenye tulipewa sisi ni jela ya Kodiaga. Na unaona kama kambi ya wanajeshi wakikawa pale, wanaweza nunua vitu, wanaweza fanya ABCD, maendeleo inaweza kuwa. Lakini sisi tunapewa tu fake promises kila wakati. Mpaka lini jameni? Sisi tumechoka. Sisi nimechoka kabisa.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. That's the answer. Tumechoka na tumechoka kabisa.
Listen to what he's saying. Everybody else had security taking care of them, but we were given a jail. Sisi tuko na jela. Everyone else has kambi ya jeshi to take care of them. That right there goes to show you about how people are feeling even about their security and development that they see in other places.
Absolutely.
Like many are doing, like what happened over the weekend where Cabinet Secretary Oparanya was booed. Why? Other places you take development, here you come give us handouts.
Bread.
No, we can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
We're not doing that anymore.
You know, and the bell is tolling for a lot of folks is essentially what they're saying here. All right, so we'll take some more calls. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your radio and then tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Muhoroni.
Calling from Muhoroni. What's your name, sir?
My name is Vincent.
Okay, talk to us. Are you tired?
I'm calling from Muhoroni.
Yes. Are you tired? This is the question that we're asking the president, rather. What we're saying to...
Seriously tired.
Why so?
One, there's something astonishing in it. And I keep on looking at this thing and then laugh. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Proceed.
Yes. Tell me, from DR Congo, how many countries do we pass to reach Kenya?
How many countries?
Do you mean like how many countries do we reach from DR Congo to Kenya? Do we pass? And then isolation center can only be established in Kenya. Why? 2, our priorities are wrong. Tell me, how do you get a budget of around an additional budget to renovate State House? For what reason? And yet people want those services across and about the country. And then 3, tell me, what happened in Kianza in Kisii? Somebody picking a stone, hitting a vehicle, a police is under his watch. And then telling us that police is not there. Are we fools? We are tired. That is my take.
Oh, okay. This is it. Thank you so much for your call this morning. Asante, we hear from others this morning as well. Just a reminder of what that number is. 0732-142-653. 0732-142-650. Let's hear from you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm James. I'm calling from Ruiru.
Calling from?
Ruiru.
Ruiru.
From Ruiru.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I was actually contribution yangu ilikuanga about this Ebola cases.
as it is in, we have seen Ndole ameenda uko mbele, and then about these court cases tumeona the court haikuwa fair to us because tulionanga any charges, hakuna charges ile aliyekewa na fine haikuwa. And I think for this time lazima kukuwe na accountability. The ambassador to the US anafaa kuitwa because anafaa kuuliza maswali if the US I respect our courts, and I think pia watu wanafaa kupeleka petition about this commander mwenye anashikilia hiyo, atuambie the reason why pia ya respect hiyo court cases zile ziko hapo. It's a big circle ile watu wanafaa kutolewa moja moja. It's not about Ruto peke yake, kuna watu wanaenable vitu kama hizo zifanyike. And about politics in large, people like speaker afai kukua ana engage into politics. It's like itako na kuja aseme jo pia mimi niko a citizen, a private citizen wa Kenya, ati jo watu walichagua hivi, jo pia mimi niko na say I'll announce another person. The offices should be respected, and I think we should enable our institutions zifanye kazi. The big issue in institutions zifanye kazi, and I think it's high time the ambassador anafaa kusamoniwa either by parliament, in which tunaona ni kama imechukuliwa, but I think one of the institution, EACC, any of the institution ile inaweza nasaidia wa Kenya inafaa kufanya hivyo.
Kabisa. Thank you very much. Thank you. I just, as these calls come in, I just feel that there's a certain load of heaviness on the shoulders of people who are saying, yikes, it's a little bit too much, and we actually are tired. Hello, good morning. Okay, that's gone. But we'll have some more. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
This is Onesmus Chalmatif calling from Kilivi.
Yes, Onesmus, speak up just a little bit so we can hear you, sir.
Yes. I would like to give my contribution to the issue whether we are tired or we are okay.
Please do.
Personally, as a Kenyan, I'm very tired. Simply because we have a president who does not follow the rule of law. But sometimes I usually say, as Kenyans, it's like we made a mistake, and that is the reason. The time we were putting in the new constitution, the president we have was against it. And I can tell Kenyans, it's like the president can never follow the law that he was at one time against it. But this is my point. We are Kenyans, and I congratulate the current generation because we are wise, we are intelligent. We can see everything that is going on in Kenya. We can see when Molkomen is making lies to us. We can see when the president is making lies to us, and we understand. It is very simple. To make Kenya a good place to live in, it is just a matter of next year. We do away with the current regime. Let us try, think, and come up with someone who can lead us. Why? If we have a good president, if we have a good leader, we can enjoy the fruits of being Kenyans. If we have a bad leader, because I understand even in the world, there are leaders who naturally they are bad. And unfortunately, we found ourselves in such kind of a mess as Kenyans. We have a leader whose intention was not to lead us.
Okay.
He had other intentions. It's only that he pretended to lie to us, to believe that he's one of us. But now, like for example, when they talk of the whole regime did this and that, me, I don't believe in that. Why? the principal assistant to Uhuru was Ruto. And he cannot tell us Uhuru did this, Uhuru did that. Those are just lies. He's trying to fuck our minds as Kenyans. So what I'll say is, let us wait for next year. When next year comes, let us totally do away with, one, the president, and almost everyone in the parliament, because these are the kind of people who have messed with us. The kind of things we have been told they are development, for real they are not. Me, I've tried to analyze whatever is called development in Kenya. You cannot do good development when you are messing up with the basic rights of the people. So the best thing is, we need to save ourselves. We need to do the Karau way. Come next year, August 10th, and the Kenya will be safe after that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your call this morning, and also for sentiments that you shared with us. Asante Sana.
Yes.
So it would seem as though there seems to be a burden. It's like there's a burden on the shoulders of people saying, well, there's exhaustion that we're facing from this whole thing. It's a lot too much, not a little bit too much. We're just tired. Can something just go right and continue going right?
There's a question that the gentleman from Ruiru has raised, that the commanders who are in charge of the airbase should be queried on this. But I ask myself, why don't you ask the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? Because remember, when you talk about like Ipe Airbase, that is an army barracks. The commander-in-chief has to know exactly what is happening in his bases.
Yes.
So the chief commander here, then commander-in-chief, should be asked as to why there is development ongoing in his base, despite the fact that the court has spoken and stopped it. We will talk about summoning the ambassador, but someone has allowed for that development to continue. For the setting up of that, someone has allowed
Somebody has
that.
said go ahead.
Go ahead.
In spite of what the court, who is supposed to be an arm of government, has actually said, but you chose to go allow that to continue.
Yeah.
So how many more things? And so then you want to ask the question that what happens then in the face of things like public participation? Then I'm saying, when people go out and they send out memoranda and they say, this is what my thought is, this is my opinion, are those things actually taken into consideration if you're going to have a people-led, government, if you're going to have a people-led nation? That when you have things according to your constitution that demands public participation, for example, in terms of how you're going to spend your money, in terms of how people will be governed, in terms of how they will select people, in terms of what the committees will do in parliament as concerns education, as concerns health, as concerns defense and security, as concerns infrastructure, that the Constitution demands that public participation is read in all this. We're not even at the place whereby the law is taking a position through the courts. We are just saying what people think. And if you can be held gun to head and say you will not have a facility here, but you still go out and do it, what happens with the things where people's voices, you ask for them to be heard? Essentially, what you're saying is that public participation be damned. We're going to do whatever it is. Are you surprised then that people are tired and exhausted and no longer at ease? Are you surprised?
Tell you what, Nduh. I really find it difficult to believe that if Kenyans have sent 500 memoranda as public participation, that each and every single memoranda is gone through with a fine tooth to know exactly what Kenyans are saying. I find it very difficult to understand that, or to believe that that process does take place. You know why? Because remember, there's a time when Njeri came up with a platform within which Kenyans could share their opinions, right? And what happened? She got arrested because she did the heavy job, the heavy burden of Parliament of ensuring that Kenyans can send their memoranda or can share their opinions on matters to do with legislation. So today we sit here and talk about public participation. Public participation has remained being a box that people just tick because they know it is a requirement by the Constitution, not that it is a requirement that we will read and understand and go through what Kenyans are saying and implement that which Kenyans are doing. It is only a process where people come, show up, 200 people, sign in that box, 500 people showed, put that in your file and say public participation happened. Public participation, this story. I don't, oh yes, I can swear. It is a story.
It's a story?
It's a story, Nduh.
It's a problem why people are tired. I'll take a couple more of your calls this morning as we get into it. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
My name is Patrick.
Yes,
Patrick. From Nairobi.
Yes, Patrick.
Yes, I just wanted to say that definitely we are tired. And it's a good thing. We must accept that we ourselves put ourselves.
Maybe we're going to ask you to move a little bit, Patrick, because we can't hear you very well.
Sorry?
We can't hear you very well. The line seems to be breaking. Maybe you want to... That's a little bit better.
Yeah. I was saying, we find ourselves today is of our own making.
Okay.
We kind of have selective amnesia, as Kenyans, because when we try to reflect backwards and ask ourselves, okay, did we know who Ruto was from the days of YK92 to the period of when he was a minister in the agriculture ministry, during the post-election ICC?
Yep.
So what did we expect from ICC suspects? We know what happened. We have seen them. But as a people, we chose that those are the values that we will stand with. Secondly, when you look at the parliament and we complain about parliament failing, those parliamentarians were all elected by Kenya. That is the face of Kenya. So if they have failed, what does that say about us who elected them? What criteria are we using to choose our leaders? And then you cannot sow thorns and harvest apples.
Yeah.
Yes? And then we spend the rest of the 5 years complaining about something that we did to ourselves. So yes, we are tired, but like we said, whether or not you're tired about politics will find you where you're seated.
Yeah, sure.
Because it affects your healthcare, it affects your pay slip, it affects your retirement, it affects your business. Like right now, they've increased import tax. Now, we elected someone who did not believe in the new constitution. Do you remember he was against the constitution?
Yes, yes.
So how will he protect something that he didn't believe in? And remember, this person was nurtured by Moi. God rest his soul in peace. So, and Moi also did not support the new constitution until, he relented at one point because the people agitated. When we look at where we are today and the financing of goons, and we reflect backwards on what happened in 2007, I think we are playing with fire. For anyone who's visited a country that has gone through civil war, will not joke around by starting to arm goons, because everyone else will have to defend themselves.
Absolutely.
And so,
those are the thoughts. Sure.
Yeah. And so, yes, we may be tired and exhausted about politics, but politics what defines every facet of our lives. So all these failures, all these failures, it's for us now with what has happened in Okoh to think and probably go through and educate people on their rights.
Absolutely.
It seems all this is mechanized deliberately to fail, and the sensitization is not done so that you're kept ignorant of what you can do and what you deserve. In certain areas, like for example, Northeastern, I'm sure if you ask some of the pastoralists what NGCDIF is, they wouldn't know.
We have to say thank you at this point, Patrick, for your comments this morning, at least to be able to be part of this conversation and let us know. I mean, that's what your thoughts are. And those are the thoughts of very many Kenyans. Asante sana. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who started off this week with us to have this conversation. Dear Mr. President, it would appear as though the people are tired of the empty promises, tired of, not obeying what the Constitution then has to say. People want it. But let me tell you something, guys. Take that exhaustion. My coach always used to say, it's when you're tired, that's when we want you to practice your free throws. It's when you're tired that you take that lack and turn it into something, and that something in this case is how you're going to vote next year. Thank you very much for being part of the Situation Room this morning. Aseto and Nduh saying have a wonderful rest of the day, and let's talk again tomorrow, God willing. Yolanda's in at 11 o'clock with Sugar and Spice and everything nice. Good morning at 10 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. Trans Nzoia Senator Alan Chesang has